Hey everybody, I'm gonna just cut right to here for now, because why not? Hi, it's Beej. It's a bonus stream, and we gotta get rolling on what's going on. I have a thing on my... Oh, I should just move that. There, better. There's a pillow on the floor behind me. I guess you all get to see that. That's what's happening now. It's good to see everybody. Welcome to the bonus stream. You're watching here on the Loading Ready Run Entertainment Network. As you've probably all heard in the past, what we do here is supported by you, and we bring it to you for you. So thanks. Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. You can check out all the merchandise through store.loadingreadyrun.com. And you can also, on YouTube, go to the main channel, youtube.com/loadingreadyrun. Something just flew into my eye. And you can back us there if you like that. You can also do, I guess, super thanks are available on all sorts of channels that we have. And yeah, Twitch, of course, Twitch subs, and bits. That was the other thing. I always forget what the other thing is, but that's the ways in which you can support us, and we appreciate all those things. Please just even, the whole like, share, subscribe thing, leaving comments and all that, that's fantastic too. Whenever you're doing that on a YouTube video, I'd love to see everybody in Twitch chat today talking here as well. Just, engagement is fantastic because it makes us feel so good. You know what else makes me feel good is anime. We're doing the bonus stream today is Beej's anime roundup for 2022 summer, and then with the autumn preview, because there's all sorts of autumn happening. And we're already a little into autumn already. I've already watched several episodes, and I'm super happy to be able to just have a whole bunch of stuff to watch that's like, because summer didn't really... Holy crap. You know what? Let's just start by going through what was going on in the summer, because there was some stuff in there when there was some stuff, and so that's fine. So let's just begin with Go Okunen Button. I didn't watch it. Oh no, I screwed up. I wasn't on the right thing. I'm on the right thing now. There we go. That should probably be fine. Heather will just probably leave that in when the edit happens. I'm sure that's not going to go to Axand. Anyway, 5 Okunen Button. I did not watch 5 Okunen Button. Let's move on. Aikatsu, 10th story. Actually, you know what? This reminds me. I always forget to do the housekeeping. It's like doing Zeta Shift, right? But at least on Zeta Shift, you do it over and over and over for Desert Bus for Hope. And I'm like, I remember all the things as the more Desert Bus goes on. So the housekeeping for the anime chat is, so let's start with, these are my opinions based on the stuff I watched. If I didn't watch a thing that you watched, that doesn't mean that I think it's trash. I just wasn't interested in watching it. You might really enjoy that. Also, some of the stuff that you like is trash. That's fine, because some of the stuff that I like is trash as well. And we have to kind of get over this idea that everything that we watch has to be really good or important or wonderful or whatever. Sometimes you can just be like, I watched this thing because it had titties in it. And I also want to mention that come to terms with the fact of whether you like to watch smut or not, and that's fine. You don't have to inflict it on other people. You don't ever have to be like, oh, I like this type of smut, and so therefore you need to like it as well. You don't need to do any of that. You can just enjoy a thing because you like a thing, and that's okay. But it's also then up to you to not have to be like, well, I liked it, so now you have to like it as well, and you have to like it for all the same reasons I like something. No. Don't draw people into your stuff if you're kind of like, it's fine that I like a thing, and it's fine that they like a thing or that they don't like a thing, and I shouldn't have to make somebody feel bad or uncomfortable about, what they like or what they don't like. So we're going to try to do the same thing here as well. I guess it's hard, right? It's that whole thing of like, don't rope other people into your kinks is, I guess, the other thing I want to mention as well. if you're into a thing, you could be into that thing, and that's great. This is what we watch a lot of anime too. If you like anime, you don't have to rope everybody you love into watching anime. But I mean, sometimes you sit down to play Magic the Gathering Arena and you say to your buddy James, it's like, why don't you just read Spy Family? And he's like, this was actually pretty good. And that was a wonderful experience for me to be like, hey, he read the first chapter of that and he was like, that's kind of cool. And I felt good about that. That's like, oh, I showed him a thing that he thought was pretty cool. And whether or not he reads more of it, that's fine. But that, always will live in my heart as a wonderful moment. I'm going to take these off because now I know that my microphone's working. I don't need to have them on anymore, though I like to hear myself in my own head. So let's get back to the shows. Aikatsu, 10th Story, Mirai no Starway. I didn't watch that either. Moving on. Akiyaku Reijo Nano de Last Boss, or Katte Mimashita Mini. So that's funny because we're on summer right now. If you're watching this, it's anniechart.net. Annielist.co, I think, is like the same site now these days. I think. But anyway, I tend to use that to keep track of the stuff that I'm watching and doing. And I have you guys in chat over here too. So Akiyaku Reijo is actually showing right now in autumn, but these are the mini episodes. I didn't watch them because I didn't think much about it, so we're gonna move on some more. And this is all mashed together with it's all by order of title. Ame o Tsugeru Hyoryu Danchi. I did not watch this. It is an ONA, so I might not have been able to find it anywhere. But that's fine. We move on because again, might get it through this pretty fast. Anata no Fransu wa donna tokoro? It's a commercial for Explore France's 2022. I didn't watch that. Arifureta shokugyo de sekai saikyo mawaroshi no boken to kiseki no kaigo. I bet this is advertisement for something. Ultimately, it's an OVA. It was one episode. The Bakuten movie. Did not watch that. Bang Dream, Morphonication. I did not watch any of the. I don't watch Love Live or Bang Dream or any of the music stuff. Tends to be, so there you go. There was some bandori for you if you're into it. Bastard, Ankoku no Hakaishin. I didn't watch that either. I wasn't really that interested in Bastard when it first came out. I'm not interested in it now. So Blue Archive 1.5 Shunen Kinen short animation. Didn't watch that either. Boku no Hero Academia has no A. Cool. I didn't watch that either. Buchigire. Here we're starting to hit some TV episodes finally. Didn't watch that either. Card Fight Vanguard. Didn't watch that either. Chichai Mao-sama. Oh, that's cute. They made a chibi anime. Well, if I run across those at some point, I will probably maybe watch that because we did watch the new Hataraku Mao-sama, and we will get to that in a bit. Chimimo, didn't watch that. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, didn't watch this. Okay, so before I move on, it is on my list, and it is on Canadian Netflix, and that means at some point I'm hoping to see it. We're waiting for it to hit Netflix, but then as time kind of went on, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this or not. And then when I saw it came out, I'm like, I should watch this because I hear people are saying really good things about it, on Studio Trigger, which is always interesting. They're with animation and whatnot. But I haven't actually gotten to watch it yet because I heard that it gets depressing, and I was like, I don't know if I want to watch something that's going to make me sad, but I'll eventually get around to it, I'm sure. We'll see.
Don't remind me. I just here for my video games.
Yeah, makes sense. Excuse me. Sorry. All right. We'll get to that. I'm sure I will. It's like when Blade Runner Black Lotus came out, I was kind of watching that, and it was like, as it was coming out, I was watching it, and I was mostly just kind of like hating myself for watching because I'm like, this doesn't seem like it's getting any better. And yeah, ultimately I was like, whatever. So I don't think I'm burned out on cyberpunk stuff, but anyway, people have said that it's like they've watched this, or there have been people who have watched Edge Runners and then been like, oh, I should go to play the game, and they do. I hit the wrong cough button, didn't I? I hit the curse button. Oh, damn it. Anyway. D4 DJ Double Mix. I didn't watch that. Delicious Party. Precure Yumemiru. Okosama. Lunch. Anyway, didn't watch that. Dr. Stone got a special. I didn't watch that. I did like Dr. Stone. If they make more things of it, I will probably, watch if there's new seasons of it eventually. Duel Masters Win, didn't watch that. Dungeon ni Deai o Motomeru no wa Machigateiru Daroka 4 Shinsho Meikyuhen. Didn't watch that because I never watched the originals. Engage Kiss, didn't watch that. Eternity Memories, didn't watch that. Oh, it's for the 10th anniversary of Idolmaster Cinderella Girls franchise. Cool. Didn't watch it though. Extreme Hearts, didn't watch that either. Just probably largely based on the look of it, but I see the music thing. They're all dressed like idols. That makes sense. I'm sure that they do hypersports, and then at the end of each episode, the winner of the hypersports gets to stand on the eternal stage or the extreme stage or the heart stage and then do a dance and sing, because we're all idol girls these days. Fuck. Fudanshi Shokan Isekai de Shinju ni Hameraremashita mini anime. I didn't watch any of that, so get me on that. Futsal Boys short anime. Didn't watch that. It comes with the 6th volume of the Futsal Boys. Bang, 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 bang. No, didn't watch that. Huto Tante. Did I think about watching this? Oh, Monsters Called Dopants. No, I didn't watch this, and I don't think I even put down I was going to watch it. Gundam Gino Reconquista 4, a movie for Reconquista, and did not watch that. Didn't watch the 5th one either. Hanabi-chan o Okuregachi. What the hell is this? The story of the series follows Hanabi, a Pachi slot machine granted human form, and her two friends. Does she have like a... Wait, no, they don't have those. They have dials. Oh, whatever. Her two friends, Versus and Thunder 5, as they work the Shitamachi God Heaven gambling hall in downtown Tokyo. That seems like a lot of fun. Didn't watch it. Hataraku Mao-sama. 10 years in the making? 12 years in the making? We finally got 2 exclamation points on the series. Hooray for that. Jesus Christ. I don't know how closely this hews to the manga or the light novel. When you watch, if you didn't think the first one was based on a light novel, this one you can tell immediately is like, oh, this must be based on a light novel. Like every episode we watched was just like, oh, everything about this is like, you can tell it's formulaic chapter writing. It's like every chapter has to be like, okay, so here's a thing we're doing, and then we go through the whole thing, and then we get to the end of the chapter where there's a cliffhanger, because now you'll need to come back and read the next chapter, because you'll need to know how that resolves. But don't worry, because in the next episode it'll resolve in about the first 60 seconds. Everything resolves in the first 60 seconds of the huge cliffhanger that's going to change everything. But you know what? That's fine. In the first 60 seconds, everything resolves. Why? Because we have to get through so much of what's going on in this. And still, fun to watch. Fun, interesting show to watch, I think. I don't give a crap about the manga. They're into the hundreds of chapters by now. I don't care if it's a light novel or not. This was just like, Heather and I liked watching the first season, and so to have this show up like 10 years later and be like, hey, it's time to watch the next one, I was like, great. And I had a good time. The character of Alice Ramos, which I'm like, that is an awkward as fuck name, so I'm guessing it must sound cool in Japanese. This little girl that is like, oh, I've shown up because we need to add a tiny child to the goings on, so that it is a new wrinkle that is interesting. And I'm kind of like, if this was a Western TV show from like the 1980s, the 1990s, I'd be like, ah, yes, you've matched the formula, you've found it. If you're running out of steam, add a friggin' child to the mix. And like, they did it here, and there's sci-fi reasons and celestial reasons why she's there, but it's like, so anyway, it is what it is. I think if you like the first season, you like the second season. If you don't like this kind of stuff, then obviously you didn't like the stuff. You wouldn't have watched more of it. But I was like, we enjoyed this. If they make a third season of this in another 12 years, we'll probably watch that too. Anyway, Hololive Summer 2022. I did not look at any of those. Hoshi no Samidare. I started watching this. I dropped it. And I know it's obviously, you can see episode 14 is coming out in 4 days. There's 24 episodes of the show. There's lots of stuff here, right? There's a story that's being told and it's going on. When I first read the Lucifer and Biscuit Hammer manga, I saw the first, I read the first chapter, got to the end of it and was like, I don't think this manga is going to be for me. I don't think I like this. Everyone talks about how it's so good, and I'm like, I don't think it's going to be my jam. So I think I'm just going to stop reading it. I'm just going to, like, if people say, you should totally read this, and whatever, I'll just kind of be like, I tried, but it's not for me. And then talking with friends of mine who have read this, I think Wheeler said they've read this actually, like, oh yeah, it was so good. I'm like, yeah? And it's like, yeah, it was great. It was like, it's just so depressing. It was exactly what I needed when I was very depressed. That kind of, I'm paraphrasing the conversation that he and I had, so I'm not trying to throw him under any sort of bus. But the same mangaka that does this, I believe, is the same one as Oyasumi Punpun, which I think is another kind of like very like, oh, my feels, and this is, you know, like that kind of, I'm having a hard time reading this because it's so, and I watched 4 episodes of this thinking that maybe by watching it as anime, the speed of it we already know the whole story, so the speed of it will be more interesting to me. It'll be more approachable to me. And in a way it was, but watching the first 4 episodes, I just got to a point where I'm like, at the 4th episode, I was like, is Punpun somebody else? I thought it was the same guy. Maybe I'm wrong about that. That's okay. Anyway, sorry. Oh, right. Spirit Circle. Right. That was the thing that these guys did. Thank you, Bytecaster. I was wrong about that. Oyasumi Punpun, I think, did another one that's also very, like, a very challenging manga other than, anyway, doesn't matter. We're gonna concentrate on this. And I just, at the 4th episode, I was like, I think that's the one where somebody dies the first time. And it's just kind of like, this is not my jam. I don't think I'm into this. So yeah, this is probably an excellent story and was very popular among the people who like this style of thing. But again, I think it's like probably like a lot of things. Maybe this was the kind of thing where it's like, if you were already into the story, maybe you want to see it be brought to life, see what the adaptation's like. You know, I don't know. A lot of times the manga or the anime gets made is also means to track people back into the manga. So anyway, moving on. Idol Boo Show movie. Didn't watch that movie. Ice Cream Double. Didn't watch that. Didn't even know there's a first season of that. Whatever. Isekai Meikyu de Harem. Oh. I watched this. And Christ. Okay. The it is what you see on the tin. It's like, it is just I'm reading the manga. The manga is slow going, and I'm like, maybe as an anime it will be more interesting. And yeah, it is more interesting, except for, of course, there's, it's not just the fact that this says ecchi here. I'm kind of like, that's boy, you've really understatement total, because there booba galore. There are sex scenes in this, and there is a concentration of it in the manga, especially, is like, this is what this is. This is wandering through labyrinths and slowly uncovering what my abilities are. But then also I get to just do it all the time with the super hot main character, and then eventually all the other characters. And don't worry, it is closer to hentai than ecchi, if you want to kind of call that thing. But what really makes it worth it for me is the fact that they made a censored version, And it is one of the funniest things because they put a gray square that looks like the menus that come up in the game logic of what it is that he's seeing, right? This game world type thing. I can see menus, right? They put gray menus up over parts that they have to censor, and so sometimes it'll be like one, or sometimes it'll be like two or three, and they're always the same size, so they can block out a ton of stuff. Even when they're like kissing with tongues, they have to put a big thing over top of that. I'm like, that's interesting. And then there are scenes where it's just like Windows solitaire mode of just like there's just entire scenes where it's just gray windows and it's just the lewdest sounds, but all you can see is just gray windows laid over gray windows, and that made it so funny to me. And I ended up getting episodes that were uncensored and watched it and was like, okay, well, as far as pornography goes, fine, you've achieved pornography. But as far as absolute humor goes, I really think that the censored version is very funny. If you're planning on watching it, just watch like the first episode where any of that happens, which is probably like episode 2 or 3, I think. Maybe it's 3. Just watch that one episode if you have Crunchyroll and just be like, oh shit, that's lewd as hell. And leave it there. I will give this thing props for one thing, is that the intro sucks. The outro's kind of fun in terms of a song, but it's not great either. But because the intro is just like generic, like like I'm rocking out real hard and there are titties everywhere. Like there's no covered up titties everywhere. That's a real metal thing, right? Oh, the ladies got their covered up titties. Like it's like that's not really that's real metal anyway. But they show off all of the girls, as you can see here, right? You will only ever meet 2 of these girls until the last episode, where the animators are like, oh shit, we only got 12 episodes to do as much as we could in this. We only get to meet Roxanne and Sherry. Roxanne is a beast person. I believe those are supposed to be dog ears. And Sherry is a very tall dwarf. Just please go with me on this. And they're like, oh no, we don't get to show the other 3 girls whose names I've completely forgotten. We don't get to show the 3 of them, or maybe there's more of them, I can't remember, but we don't get to see the other ones nude at all. So we better do a montage sequence of him acquiring them as slaves and then having all sorts of sex, and everyone's having all sorts of fun. And I was like, wow, you really knew who your audience was. It's like, no, we wanted to watch this because we knew these girls eventually show up and we needed to see this. It's like, right, we need to animate all this. I'm like, man, I'm glad you saved your budget for like 2 episodes so you could be able to put all that in there. I'm like, wow. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on, because it's like, yeah. All right, on the other hand, what a goddamn tragedy that we haven't got all of this yet. Isekai Oji-san, or Uncle from Another World. If you have Netflix, you might have this, because Netflix is different in every country, but I know we have it in Canada, which means you almost certainly have it in the USA. And Isekai Oji-san, Uncle from Another World, is great because it's pure, it's comedy first. It is, I'm sure if I read the manga, there's probably lots of like yonkoma sections and then like larger sections where it's telling about stuff. The idea being that the uncle here, who when he shows up when he gets hit by a truck and he shows up in the isekai world, and he's really just having a coma in the Earth world. But for whatever reason, he learns magic, but he gets to like, he can do magic in Japan. And then also when he was over there, there's like this whole thing of him, he can remember all of his stuff, like everything that he did, and he can call up like a screen, and he can show everybody his memories. Well, when I say everybody, I mean his nephew, and the nephew's childhood friend, who is interested in the nephew for reasons I can't quite figure out, but it's fine. And in the meantime, and he's also like, this is one of my favorite things, is that he's a big fan of Sega, which I'm like, that's such a great premise of coming back and being like, oh, by the way, who won the console wars? It's like, oh, right. Not only are the console wars completely different now, you're the one you backed. Nope. Sorry, it did not. And where we're at in the series up to where I've watched, he hasn't even seen a Dreamcast yet. So I'm like, I can't wait for that to blow his mind. This is something that came after the Saturn, because that was, I believe, the time that he left. Now, it's funny, like, it's really good, and it's tragic that we got 7 episodes into it and they have stopped. And my understanding, and this may or may not be true, so take this with a grain of salt, my understanding is that there was a COVID outbreak, not like to flatten the studio, but did enough to make it hard on them. They couldn't continue making any more of it. It could also just be they're taking a mid-season break because of how much money they could pump into it in the first place. But it's really funny. It's really good. I haven't read the manga, but I'm liking this enough that even if they only get through 13 episodes and we don't get any more of it, I'll probably go read the manga from now on, because it is just kind of like, it is what you want out of comedies at this point. About when you do a comedy that's about a tropey thing, that it's like, I just want someone to deconstruct the tropes. I just want someone to like just hit you over the head with how stupid this shit is. It's like, it's so nice to see that. So yeah, I recommend this as a watch, that I hope that you're into. I like watching my media want to deconstruct itself. So yeah, Pat Bear's point out in chat is that we'll be seeing episode 8 of this November 24th. So they're bringing it back. So hopefully we'll be able to keep on that for a while. Moving on. Another isekai Yakyoku. Right, they're all going to have isekai in the start of the name, so they're all going to be jammed together. I like this. Also because I'm reading the manga of this. The first thing that got me immediately upon seeing this, and then maybe this is the thing you're going to be like, why? And I'm like, well, because Eleanor here, in the manga, is in the key art, she has a huge chest, and I'm like, I feel like that was on purpose, because this is not a huge chest next to what she was being drawn with. Like corset and lots of and everything's and pow, and I'm like, wow, that's really intense. Why did you choose that? Why did you make the One-san, who's overseeing the 22-year-old guy who got stuffed into a 10-year-old's body? Why did we do that? Well, because it's supposed to attract people to come read the thing. And I'm guessing that what they did here was like, but we don't need her to attract people to watch this thing, because maybe when you were making the manga, you were like, I need any reason to get people into reading this. So, give her big titties, and that way everyone will come start reading it, and they won't realize that they're being fooled into this thing about a boy revolutionizing medicine in pseudo-not France. And I think they probably saw better than like, yeah, you know what, let's make her look a little more realistic, because ultimately it doesn't matter. So yeah, Isekai Yakyoku is it's fun and it's interesting, and I believe is who'd say that? Yeah, as Pat Bear points out, the animation for all the magic is fantastic. It really is. Like, for CG and how smooth it is and how good they make it look, I'm like, it really looks good. It feels like there's weight to it. It really enhances the look of the show. I really like this. I really love the story of this, and it was written. I started reading it in 2020 as the pandemic was happening, and there is a pandemic in this story, and I don't know if they had planned to put the pandemic in the story or not. Maybe they had, and it had just been like, it finally got to print about the same time that a pandemic was starting up in our world, and that is, I think, really interesting. Oh yeah, Pat actually also points this out too, and thanks, Pat. Everyone has a normal reaction to the kid being a reincarnation of a god is how they're seeing him. That he has these amazing powers, and he does. He has amazing, he's amazing like medical powers bestowed to him by a god. But he also has all this incredible knowledge because he was a Japanese pharmacologist. And yeah, there's this when they find out that he has all the godlike magic powers as well, that people are uncomfortable and frightened to death at the idea that he might be this like reincarnation of this god, because it's like, well, you have someone who's this powerful, and even though it's all about healing, it's like there's still a lot of power there, and what do you do about that? And it's yeah, it's very cool to see that. The thing that I think is weird about this is that it puts they don't call them pharmacists or pharmacologists or anything like that. They call them pharmaceutists in the in the translation, in how they in the titles. And I have to feel like that's some sort of reference to being both pharmacist and physician, because he opens his pharmacy, and he has places for people to be examined and to be given medicine and given treatment and stuff. And I'm like, pharmacists don't receive the kind of medical training in the real world that doctors would. They have to be familiar with a whole bunch of things because they have to know a whole bunch of stuff about how how drugs react with each other. And whether you could have a problem because of, XY interactions and a lot of that stuff. And you need to know about, like, there's even, in BC, here we go. In BC, they're passing a revision to, what the pharmacy, I think they call them the College of Pharmacists, basically the Association of Pharmacists in British Columbia, are going to be given special dispensation, I guess, or whatever. Their powers are going to be expanded essentially to be like, if I drop by a pharmacist, I can ask them for medical advice on things that are easily treatable by stuff that is over the counter, essentially. And also, I think that they'll be able to, if it's like I come in with like terrible diarrhea or something, or I've had this terrible problem, it's like, okay, we know that for those kind of problems, we can prescribe you. We will say, okay, well, get some Pepto-Bismol and have some Pedialyte, and maybe you'll be fine. But they'll be able to do things beyond that to be like, oh, well, if you need a more specific medication, we can prescribe that for you and fill that here. And it's a very fine line, obviously, because it's like, if you're letting a pharmacist write you a prescription, it seems very self-serving because they're the ones who actually issue prescriptions fill a prescription and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like they do have a lot of medical field knowledge that can come in handy for a lot of people who are like ultimately having to go to, like, I have to go to my urgent care, or I have to go to emergency, or I have to go to try to make an appointment with a doctor, which is absolutely impossible to do in British Columbia right now. Getting a GP is not a thing you can do. We're getting nurse practitioners to be doing stuff in the province now as well. Is that nurse practitioners like RNs and LPNs and stuff are opening they're opening clinics and being like, we can provide you so much medical treatment and knowledge up to a certain point, obviously, because we'll need more specialized doctors to make better assessments of things. But up to a certain point, we can give you an awful lot of that. And there's way more of us than there are doctors. And it's way easier for you to come see a nurse practitioner and get them to help you with stuff. And it's like, yeah, this might be a revolution in how we handle that. It was really weird to me, for me to hear that pharmacists will be taking on some of this role as well. But if they can, because they have that knowledge, then I'm comfortable with that too, to just be like, if I have a problem that I know that needs to be tackled by something that's not like have an antihistamine and get like 10 hours of sleep, it's like, yeah, they might actually be more capable of alleviating a lot of this load on the system, because people going in to be like, I'm having this problem, what do I do about it? But I have visited emergency for some shit that I'm pretty sure that I couldn't get help from a pharmacist. that I'm kind of like, I don't know what would have come of this otherwise. If they can write referrals to specialists, that'll be a game changer. And I guess we'll see what happens. So maybe this is what we're going to see in the future, is what they've made in the past, is that pharmacists will be able to, just diagnose people and refer you onto a more experienced doctor, or maybe just be like, we know what this is. We can ask for blood tests, so we can kind of handle a bit of this ourselves if we need to. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Good series, though. I like this. This is fun. Moving on. Jashin-chan Dropkick X. I haven't watched any. The only Jashin-chan Dropkick I've watched are the clips where Hatsune Miku shows up, and that's it. So I only knew that was a thing because this is it's comedy slice of life. I'm like, I have no idea what this is outside of whatever it is. Maybe it's really good. I might never find out because I just like the fact that Jashin-chan Dropkick happens in the same world, in the same town that Hatsune Miku is technically from, and so she guest stars in the show, and I'm kind of like, I wonder if that was part of the reason why people would watch that. So anyway. More JoJo, Stone Ocean Part 2. Heather and I were watching Stone Ocean together. This probably means that we will end up, of course, watching Part 2. Will end up, Beej? What did you just say? I'm like, yeah, we haven't watched the second part of Stone Ocean yet. We will get to it eventually. I don't know when that's going to be. We're watching a lot of other things right now and trying to get through those things as well, and then maybe we will come back to be able to watch this. I just keep forgetting this exists, weirdly, but that's what we are doing. So moving on again. Kakegurui Twin, didn't watch this. I didn't like Kakegurui when I watched it. So I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched like the first episode, and just kind of was like, I don't like how this feels, and so I don't think I'm gonna be into this, and so we didn't watch any more of it. Kamikuzu Aidoru. Right. So we watched this. Heather and I both watched this actually because we're like, oh, here's an interesting idea. These two guys here. This is Yuya, Naoto Yuya, and then what the hell is his buddy's name again? They don't even have it listed here. This is the guy that he's in an idol group with called Zings. I'm not a fan of the music. All the dancing is all done by CG. Very obviously done by CG. Took him a lot of work, you can tell, to do what it is, but and great that they did it. But the show's fun because what this is about is Asahi. She was an idol and she died. I think probably hit by a truck. Sure, she didn't get isekai'd though. She just straight up died and became a ghost, and she ends up seeing Yuya in a live house, and they can see each other, and it's the only person who's been able to see her, and she's like, oh, I really want to be an idol again at some point, and he's like, I just want a paycheck, and I hate doing this, and I hate having to like put in a lot of effort, so what I do is I just put in all the effort I need to learn my dances the first time, or learn the song the first time, so I can just kind of lay around and not have to. So he's like he's really good at being an idol in the technical sense, because he can do all the dances from the go, and he can learn his songs like immediately, because he's like, if I can just do that, then I can lay around for the rest of the time. That's all I have to do. And she's like, no, you have to love your job because being an idol is amazing. And at times then she ends up inhabiting his body, which changes his kind of like, yes, hello everybody, I'm here. I'm, good to see, like, I'm here tonight. Let's do the dancing. Man, I want to go lay down. He says on stage to everybody. And then she jumps into his body and her entire personality overtakes his. And now he's like super hyper and like all great and whatever. And this is great. And just kind of like his partner has no idea what the hell's going on with him. But loves the fact that he's kind of into things now. And he's like, I'll just let her do all the hard work of being an idol, and then I'll just coast. And we learned lessons from that and whatever else happens. And you might be like, okay, so that's fine, that's fun, that's whatever. I'm like, right. But what elevates this show is his not just his, but I guess kind of his cheering squad. Like these three love Zings, but they also love Yuya, and he's just like they love how kind of like, right, I'm here, I'm gonna do the show, and we're gonna have a good time, I guess, and then I'll see you guys in. Then I'm gonna go backstage and lie down. And they're like, man, we love his terrible energy. They're just really into the fact that he's just kind of like, oh, he's this terrible energy that I have. So they actually have segments of episodes where they're talking about how amazing he is. They know nothing of what the plot is, so they just love talking about how amazing he is and how fun it is to watch him in like God mode or in like, what do they call him, like laid back mode, like whatever it is. And we also get to see what a lot of other fans go through and kind of how you pull other people into loving a group like this, and how you pull like and how your fandom, you know, interacting with other people in part of the fandom, like people who are not fans of Yuya but are fans of the other guy, and Yuzuki, I forget his name. Anyway, it's super fun. Don't worry about the scores. I mean, the scores are kind of nice as a way to go by, but it's like, no, I think this was fun. I think this is like, I would, but I mean, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10, but I mean, let's just like watch a couple episodes and see if you like it. Cause it was just kind of, it wasn't very challenging as a show, but it didn't have to be. And it's fun, and there's different situations. They don't just lean on the whole thing of like, oh, he's going to dance and then do whatever. And I mean, when they sum it all up on the 10th episode, it's kind of like, yeah, you did only 10 episodes, probably because you're like, shit, we did not get much of a budget to make this in the first place. And so we'll do what we can. What can we do? It's like, well, we can animate all the dancing by motion capture, and then we can get a CG company to do it. It's like, yeah, that sounds good, but it's an idol show, so we need songs. It's like, yeah, you're right. We're going to need a lot of songs. So some of the animation's going to not be exactly, you know, it's not going to be top tier. We can probably only afford to do 10 episodes if we have to do like 9 or 11 songs or whatever. And I was like, this really just struck me as, is this just because they're trying to push in real life an idol group, and so they wrote 8 or 9 songs for them, plus for like another couple of groups as well? And I'm like, and they have to sound like idol songs, right? You can't just really not just kind of a do whatever situation. But also I'm like, they don't sound like they're big hit songs either. Like there are some which are like, yeah, that's good song, like whatever, but it's a good song. It's not a great song, is it? It's not a song I'll be humming. Like, it's not this shit ain't Morning Musume. Like, it's good, and that's fine, and people like it, and that's great. And I'm like, it really captures that too, because I'm like, I don't think any of these are going to crack the top 10, because I don't think they were written to follow the formula, but I don't think they were written so formulaically that they can like really be like, oh yeah, this is going to answer the formula. Everyone's going to love this. So anyway, I watched it. I liked it. Let's move on. Kanojo Kairi Shimasu, second season. So Rental Girlfriend is something I didn't watch. And the more I've seen people talk about it, I'm like, oh, I see. This is, it's I don't know. Some people have liked this, but the more I've seen some people's reaction to it, I was just kind of like, I don't think this is ever going to be my jam. Just the idea of like, there's I want to like a girl, but I don't know how I go through talking about that or doing whatever. And, but also I rent these girls, but so that I can have girlfriends. I don't really understand what it is, but it just is kind of like, it's like the reactions I've seen to this are very similar to reactions I saw to Nisekoi, which is like, why the fuck does this even exist in the first place? I know why it exists, but why the fuck does it need to exist in the first place? And it's like, yeah, I didn't know that, Pat. The guy is a dirtbag protagonist. Great. There's another rental girlfriend manga I was reading. I think it's rental girlfriend Tsukimi-chan, Tsukasa-chan. If you have manga decks on your thing open right now and you go look for rental girlfriend and her name starts with a T, and it's super cute. And it has the same problem of hey, I like a girl, you girl that I am renting to date because I need to learn how to like girls. But I like you. We're college students. It's like I like you, and I don't know how to talk about that ultimately, and that's going to create a couple problems. But fortunately, we're going to do all that shit in the last 3 chapters, and that's fine, because everything else is like I'm renting a girl to. This is not talking about this, by the way. I'm talking about this manga I'm reading. I'm renting a girl because I need to learn how to get comfortable with girls. This girl is really cool and fun and real quirky, and she likes to do real fun, interesting things. And I'm just kind of throwing myself into it. And this is not the Sumi spinoff I'm talking about. Again, it's a completely different series by a completely different person. And it captures the idea of like, oh, let's just have a person dating another person and let's have them form a relationship that has this transactional because it's a rental thing. But it could have been a girl renting a guy to date, and he could have been like, I like to do these fun things and interesting. I like to like Tsukita-san, that's it, rental girlfriend Tsukita-san. I like to like, we have to walk from here to here on our date to get to the location where we're going to, but we may only do it by walking on shadows, or we can only do it by like walking on every other tile or something like that. And he's like, okay, shit, yeah, you're weird. But sure, why not? I'll do this. And it's kind of that, I know it's that kind of like manic pixie girlfriend energy, but it kind of isn't, because it's just like she just wants to have fun and enjoy herself while she's out doing these things, and she's not like that energy really isn't part of what Tsukita-san is like, and it's very cute and it's very fun, and I'm like, why don't we have that? Give me that. Give me 12 episodes of that rather than this play at a harem anime, which I'm sure is selling so well. So good for you, but I didn't fucking watch it, and I don't care if anybody else does. So, oh, look, the Pucci 2 version of it. Okay, anyway. Kido Senshi Gundam Suisei no Majo. It's the prologue to The Witch from Mercury. I didn't watch this. We'll move on. Kinso no Vermeil Gakepuchi Majusushi. Gakepuchi Majusushi wa Saikyo no Yakusai to Maho Sekai o Tsuki Susumu. Nobody get Dogen in here. Have him stress my pronunciation, because yeah, I would not make it past this. But also, I didn't watch this. Oh, ecchi fantasy romance. Okay, whatever. Magic can be replaced with a kiss. Maybe other things. Didn't watch that. KJ File. Didn't hear about this, but oh, that's kind of cool though. Oh, it's shorts. That may be why. A world where kaiju's great powers and humankind live together. You know what I want is I want Kaiju Girl Caramelizer. I want that. Make that into an anime. That's going to be like, that will be top shit. I don't know about this, but I want that. Okay. Kumicho Musume to Sewagakari. Sorry. Kumicho Musume to Sewagakari. I'm going to take a break here. I've probably been live for about an hour by now. So this is about a Yakuza guy who is the demon of Sakuragi, the Sakuragi family. He like is probably, I don't know, probably killed millions of people. I'm not sure. And the daughter of the Kumicho here, of the dude. This is basically Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. If you want to look at it there, it's Kumicho Musume to I'm helping out with this. Anyway, this guy's like, I'm going to let you look after my kid because my kid's coming to live with me now that she's like 7 years old. And it says it's a heartwarming comedy. Yeah, it is. It's great. It's fun and it's good. It's heartwarming. It's great if this is exactly what you want to be. Pat and I have kind of the same opinion here. I wish this was less about people not wanting him to be a demon and more about him being an actual babysitter. And yeah, it would be nice if it was a little more slice of lifey. That it's obviously there's this guy who is the Kirishima, I love it so much when you are the demon and you're losing your edge as a demon, so I will do all sorts of things to make you turn back into a demon again. And I am have this weird sort of like interest and attraction to you in this way that it's like I just want you to beat the shit out of people and that kind of stuff. And I'm so evil and so malevolent and all that kind of crap. And then there's this guy who's like, huh? I just want to beat the fuck out of you because I want to beat the fuck out of you, and that way if I fuck you up, and then that way I'll be the strong guy, and you're not the strong guy, and I'm the strong guy. And it's like, sure. It's like I don't care about any of that. I just want to see him kind of trying to understand how to get along with her, and her trying to understand how to get along with him, and there's something about representing Yakuza as a family that is interesting, because it's, there's the push-pull of like, we are involved in crime and that might involve violence, but also we need to temper that versus this other thing where it's like, we are a family, and that if you have a child in the house because they would live there, then it's like, well, what does that mean? And what you want to see is, you want to see his rough edges get filed off. You want to see him be more responsible. And they do that by the end, to kind of be like, we need to demonstrate that, he can very easily be turned back, but then of course he, can also not. And we can kind of move that beyond. And like, so yeah, it was good. I liked it. It wasn't the thing I was most excited to see every season. It was the thing that was good and I liked it. Because it is 7:30 and we probably started about 6:30. What is our up dog right now? So it is about an hour. All right, let's do another one, and then we'll take a quick commercial break. Kuro no Shou Kanshi. Didn't watch this. Kelvin, good luck. I hope you people enjoyed this, if this was a thing that was enjoyable. Liela no Uta 2. I didn't watch the first one. Oh, it's anime music segment with each Love Live Superstar Season 2. Okay, so probably was never going to be this thing, so I will just move on. More Love Live, didn't watch that. Licorice Recoil, oh, God. Okay. I didn't watch this. And I was fine if I wasn't going to watch this, because I was just like, I don't know, just the young girls with guns working for a secret government organization. I didn't even know that's what that was about. And I saw somebody post it. I'm like, oh, it's Gunslinger Girls. And then I hang out in the Yuri Manga Discord, and everyone's like, yes, so obviously these two need to get together, and they're going to get together, right? They're getting together, right? Right? They're getting together, right? Right? That's what's happening. We're almost together. We're almost so close to being together. Oh, we're not. Cool. And so I've decided I'm not going to watch it, because I'm not putting 13 episodes of my time into this, because I don't care. It's like, that's the only reason why I would watch this. Let's be fair. And we will get to the Witch from Mercury in a bit, I promise. But the only reason why I will watch this is if it actually had a very strong Yuri plot to go along with all the other stuff. I'd be like, fine, I'm here for that. Let's see what happens. Not going to happen, then I'm not going to watch it. Not going to even take time to do it. So, moving on. We're getting close here. Made in Abyss, Retsujitsu no Ogonkyo. We watched the first season of Made in Abyss, and that was enough. Yeah. For those who like it, they like it a lot, right? Yes, 86% based on here. I didn't like this, and it's not...
Sorry, could you say that again?
I didn't like this. And that's fine. It's not like it's not good at what it does. But I do not have the headspace to enjoy this. I'm pretty sure Adam knows this exists, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have it queued up to watch at some point. This happens, I guess, after the movie. I don't know if he's actually seen the movie yet or not, but not my jam. So, Mama haha no tsurego ga motto kano datta. No. Whoa. Not unless your ex ends up at the same school as you as now your step-sibling. Didn't watch that, don't care. Midori no Makibao Owaranai Chosen. Didn't watch the original 25 years ago. It adapts the final chapter of the manga. Wow. Yeah, no, didn't watch this. Moving on. Musashi no, the second season of Urao no Usagi-chan. I don't think I watched those. So she's clearly a computer programmer. Let's move on. Natsue no Tunnel, Sayonara no Deguchi. Didn't watch that movie. Maybe we'll watch it at some point. Didn't watch it. I want to try to get to one that I've actually seen so I can give you a thing on it, but I don't think I got Adam into anime. I think he's already seen some Dragon Ball and stuff. I think I maybe just told him, here's the thing you might like, and he was like, oh yeah. So moving on. Obey Me, didn't watch the first One Piece film. I've never seen One Piece in my life. I don't even know what it's about. Orient, Awaji Shima Gekito Hen, didn't. Samatsu-san, no, just moving on from that. Overlord 4, never watched Overlord at all. Then the Pleiades, that's what it says there, Pleiades. Pitchy, Tokyo Mew Mew Mew, haven't seen those. They're probably very cute. Prima Doll, didn't watch that. Recycle of the Penguin Drum, Kohen Boku no. Am I supposed to pronounce the colons? I don't know. Boku wa Kimi no Aishiteru. Didn't watch either of the Penguin Drum movies. Renmei Kugun Koku Maho Ongakutai. Luminous Witches. Didn't watch that. Rilakumo no Yuenchi. Didn't watch that. Ruby Hyosetsu Teikoku. You know what? Okay. I've been just moving on and on and on. Didn't watch this either. I'm just going to pause and take that commercial break. There's clearly a lot of stuff here that I didn't watch. Let's just take the commercial break so I can go do that. I have to put a drop in my eye anyway. And we'll come back here in a few minutes. So you guys sit tight. We will see you after the commercial. Okay, and we're back. He said, having to put the headphones on just to be sure he can hear himself. He can hear himself just fine. That's great, folks. Hey, I don't watch RWBY, so we're not gonna ever talk about RWBY, I don't think. A lot of people like RWBY. Saw a terrible comic today about how the reason why people like RWBY is because of all the Rule 34, and I'm like, sure. I did it again! Moving on. Saikin yatotta meido ga ayashi. Well, I'm reading this manga. Now here's the thing, is there's a web version of this manga, and then it got a serialization, so there's like two different versions of the manga that are basically kind of the same things. And so I was like, they're very easy to digest. They're like 6 pages, and they're kind of just the same thing over and over, but because it's only like 6 or 7 pages long, it's just fine. You know, like I'm like, I don't mind doing that. And it's cute in its own way. And so I decided I would watch the show, and I'm like, it kind of, I think everything that's going to happen in the serialized version of it, because I think the webcomic version of this was just like, I had an idea and I just started drawing the idea like as you do, right? Here's a thing I made. Isn't this great? I put it on Pixiv, and it's like, yeah, that's great. That's just a real dumb idea. Oh, I drew them again. Okay, cool. It's like, I drew them a third and a fourth and a fifth time. You have a series now. Awesome. We have a webcomic series. Great. People like this, and we can make money off of dark skin, purple eye, big boobed maid. Awesome. We can do that. She's mysterious. It is kind of the same gag over and over. Yes. And it's just straight fine. Like, I'm like, I have episodes waiting to watch that I'm just like, this is just hard average. Like, it is, for all the effort that went into making it, obviously, and everything else, I'm like, this does not resonate with me anywhere near as much as reading the manga does, because the manga is like, it's like eating a treat. It's like having a cookie and you're done. And this is like, it takes me 25 minutes to eat a cookie, which I would never do in my entire life. Hard to get excited about. So Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It's probably not your jam, or maybe it is your jam, but even then it might be like, meh. Anyway, moving on. Saint Seiya got a weird looking, wow, video game. Yeah, no, I didn't watch this. Sasaki to Miyano, koi ni kizuku mae no chotto shita hanashi. It's an unaired episode bundled with the ninth volume of the manga. Well, I didn't watch that. Sekai no owari no ni Sekai no owari ni Shiba Inu to. That seems like fun. I didn't hear about this at all. I guess it's on YouTube. And also, people didn't like it. I don't know. Whatever. It's an ONA. I didn't watch it. Oh, it's on High Dive. Okay. So, Doomsday with my dog. Oh, moving on. Shadow's House second season. Okay, I haven't watched the first Shadow's House yet. I haven't read the manga yet, so that means I didn't watch this. But I do know, based on you people saying that it was really good, that I will look up the first season at some point and I will watch it. I'll get there, I'm sure, eventually. And by the way, anyone wondering about the ratings, these are all user ratings, right? People who went and watched something and then marked whether they liked it or not, which meant that if there are people out there who like something but they don't see it, then you don't know, right? So I guess I should also mention I put a candy in my mouth so that I could keep talking. And if you hear me clicking it around a whole bunch and it's bothering you, please say so. I don't mind hearing about it. Let's not be jerks about it, obviously, but if you do hear it and it's bugging you, let me know. I'll try to cut it down. It's also helping with the terrible taste of the eye drops. All right. Shin Tennis no Oji-sama U17 World Cup. Didn't watch the thing, so don't ever watch Prince of Tennis. So moving on. Shine Post. Tings versus Zings in the other one. Didn't watch this. Oh, something supernatural. Oh, I see. When a new manager with special skill set takes him under his wing. Shoot for the stars. Moving on. Didn't watch it. Don't care. Shoot. Goal to the future. Didn't watch that. Even though their meeting was the start of a new legend, you didn't watch this? I didn't watch this. Cool. I'm just enjoying everyone reacting to me saying I can taste the eye drops. And the thing is, I can taste the eye drops. All this shit, it's all a bunch of tubes that are connected to each other. So, Sore demo ayumu wa yosete kuru, or I like Ayumu moves closer to the end game. I like that a lot. I think that's a great title because it's really like there's a finality to it. There's an intensity to the title that's just really good that kind of doesn't suit this series. The manga is fine. Like, I like it. And the reason I like it is because it's what's his name again? Yasuhino? I'm getting his name wrong. Yurichiro. I can't remember. Hey, Foxmar, welcome, Raiders. This is about she is the president of the shogi club that isn't quite a club yet because there aren't enough people, and then there's the he is a kohai and he did kendo, but upon coming to the school and seeing her for the first time, he fell in love and he was like, I want to join the shogi club. And this is the important part. He's vowed not to confess his feelings until he can beat her at a game of shogi, and he's not great. And what's fun, obviously, is the kind of the will they, won't they. We don't get a lot of shogi concentration on this. You know, it's not like Chihaya Furu, where you get to watch a lot of karuta and then we have romance. It's like, no, this is a comedy romance show, and it's fun and it's fine. And I like the character designs by this guy, and I like his stories. He's done a lot of stories. There was another one he did called Kaiju no what's her name again? Kaiju no Tsume? Sorry, I'll be a second here. We just got to look up Takagi-chan. I mean, I love Takagi-chan. I didn't know where that was going, but I really, really like it. Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san. That's the fan comic. Don't look at the Dojin Beej. Just go find the actual... God damn it, we'll never find it, will we? Takagi. Why not show me the actual thing? There we go. And it's by Yamamoto Soichiro. Right. Has done a lot of different things. So Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san. And then is also one of the creators behind Karakai Jozu no Moto Takagi-san, which is the time skip series, which is we go forward in time, and it's really fun and it's very cute. He, of course, did this as well. And then Kunoichi Tsubaki no Mune no Uchi, which is in the heart of the Kunoichi Tsubaki, which was in last season. There's this great little illustration of a relay where it was like Takagi was passing something to Tsubaki, and then Tsubaki was passing it to Urushi to demonstrate it's like every season is getting a Soichiro thing, and it was very good. Fudatsuki no Kyoko-chan, which is about this like tsundere vampire. It's like the little sister of this guy. It's weirdly like incestual, but it kind of I try not to read it like it is. Shogi Senpai is interesting. There we go. Kaiju no Tokage. It's about Tokage-chan, who's a lizard girl who is going to grow up and be a big kaiju as far as she's concerned. And it's just like, this guy has done so many series, and they all just have this like wild, like everyone has the same kind of, obviously have a style, right? And it's like, but they've done so many, and so recently, so many of them are getting translated that I've just been kind of reading all of them because they're just fun and light. And this one's pretty light too. I like Takagi-chan better. Takagi-san. Takagi-chan. I like that better than this. I like Kunoichi Tsubaki better than this. I think this is probably one of the more weaker premises. But also, I think it works fine as a manga. I think as an anime, it's not quite as interesting as those other ones are, and that's okay. And hopefully they'll make Tokage-chan into an anime. Maybe they'll do shorts or something like that. It's a very short series. I hope they make Moto Takagi-chan. I hope they make the time skip version of Takagi-chan at some point, because that's super fun too. But yeah, moving on. Tekken Bloodline. I never played the video game. Tensei Kenja no Isekai Life. I didn't play this. Didn't play this. Daini no shokugyo o ete sekai saikyo ni narimashita. Didn't do that. I haven't played Tekken, so I didn't watch this either. No, I mean, seriously, I know that this is like, we're gonna learn how to be manzai and a mysterious girl calls out to them. I don't think I ever found this anywhere or picked up on this or anything like that. So, and I don't know if it's any good or not. Bionel saying it's actually pretty funny and had some creative episodes, and Pat saying it was fun. And okay, an example of, because there was a manzai one before this, like a season or two ago, that I was just like, I couldn't get interested in this. And then when I saw, we're doing another girls manzai thing, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to want to give other things another chance. So anyway, we'll move forward. It had to delay an episode because of Abe's assassination. Wow. Was it because there was like, I just want it because somebody wrote a terrible joke about assassinating a prime minister, like being very specific about it. Ugh. Anyway, Tokyo Mew Mew New. Heather and I are watching this because it was like, this will be a fun thing. I've never seen Tokyo Mew Mew. She talks about it all the time. I'm like, hey, they're making a new season. Or a new series. Do you want to watch it? And she's like, sure. And we watched like halfway through it. And We're almost all the way through it, actually. I think we're on episode 11 or whatever, so we got like a couple left to go. No idea if we're going to get any more of it or not. Then, so we watched a few episodes, and she's like, okay, now I need to show you the original. So we watched the original, and I was like, I see, okay. She's like, yeah, they're doing things very fast in this one. I'm like, well, they only have 12 episodes. So, yeah, there is definitely I like this. It's cute. My favorite character is Zakuro. Which is weird because normally every magical girl series, I always end up like, oh, my favorite girl is the main girl, right? But it's like, no, I like Zakuro the best. The lone wolf. I'm sure she's a favorite of a lot of others as well. But yeah, I just like... I think I would prefer this to the original just because I've never seen the original, and watching the original was like, it feels very by the numbers, whereas I think that for your kind of classic like 90s magical girl series, right? 90s, 2000s magical girl series. And this feels a little less like that. Like they still have to have the whole like, well, there's going to be a monster of the week type thing, and that's going on. I'm like, yeah, something about it feels like it's like we want to do the same kind of formula, but we don't want it to feel the same way. And also, there is an acceleration to this because I think they knew they couldn't get like the 50 odd episodes they're going to get out of the original Tokyo Mew Mew. So it was like, let's get this go fast now, please. And it's like, yeah, sure. Let's do that. So our girls here are Zakuro Puin Ichigo Retu Sumintu. Zakuro Puin Ichigo Retu Sumintu. I'll give it this. The opening and ending themes are bangers. Oh my God, they're so good. And they're written for the show. They're not like a random anime song that's been like a random like J-pop song that's been shoved in here or whatever. They are written for the show. They are so much fun. The animation's so much fun. The ending is probably my favorite of all of them. I had little bouncing heads of all the girls like doing whatever. Then they have dance moments and stuff where they're all dancing, and Lettuce can only do one dance because she's the shy one. She doesn't really know much of whatever. So, yeah, it's great. It's like, it's just fun, interesting. I liked it. I think you will probably like it too. Especially if you like the Mahou Shoujo thing, then go check it out. Yeah, definitely go check it out. Tsurune Hajimari no Isha. Oh, it's a movie. I wouldn't have watched it because I don't think I watched the original anyway. But no, KyoAni's doing stuff. That's good. See them doing more stuff. Uta no Prince Sama Majila Vestage Tours. I didn't watch this movie. Oh wait, another special. Didn't watch that either. Utawareru mono Futari no Hakuoro. I didn't watch the original Utawareru mono, and I think because of, even if this is like a brand new thing, and it's like, oh, you can just watch this from scratch if you want to. It's just like, I don't know. Not my jam. Wasn't that interested, I think, in the original. Maybe it's really good, and I think a lot of people really liked it, so. But it wasn't going to be my thing, so I skipped it. Warau Aos Notoria Sun. Soon, most likely. Magic Academy. They call these girls the Pentagram. I don't know any of this shit. I didn't watch this. Let's just move on. Watashi Daki no Okusama Lunch. It's a short that comes with... I was like, why does it sound so familiar? Oh, right. Okusama Lunch. Wait, is it lunch or launch? I don't know. Stop caring. Okay. I dislike vampires because I don't like the scary shit. That is the thing. Don't like the scary shit at all. Jacob has in fact offered to, if he had offered, is like, did you want to come play vampire at some point? Anytime, not even on Dice Friends, just at any time. And I'm like, no, because I don't like vampires. I don't like the way that I feel when I think about the thing that they do. And so I have only ever watched a couple of shows that have vampires in them. There was Karen, which was a lot of fun. She was the reverse vampire thing where it's like she's a vampire, but she makes a ton of blood, which is awkward. And this, Yofkashi no Uta, Call of the Night, or Song of the Night, if you want to think of it that way, but Call of the Night is what we call it, and that is what it is. I started reading this because it's by the same guy who does Dagashikashi, the same mangaka. I shouldn't say same guy. I don't actually know gender there. So same person who does Dagashikashi. And I really liked Dagashikashi because it was a lot of fun. It's like, oh, hey, they're doing a new thing. You should go read the new thing. I'm like, okay, I guess I will go read the new thing. Thank you very much. Started reading it and I'm like, oh, it's vampires. Christ, I don't want to, well, I'll read a few of these and we'll see how it goes. And I ended up really getting into it. It's in 140 chapters at this point, and there's more. We're kind of approaching like the end of the thing. But what's funny about this, like, I guess, because it's this comedy, right? And it's like, it's more psychological than comedy, but the comedy bits are like bang, bang, like they hit really hard. Like they come in and it's like, this is a thing that's happening. And I talked about bangers for opening and ending. Let's get that right out of the way right now. The songs for this are both good. The ending song, I think, is better than the beginning. The opening is a great song, has a killer animated opening. Like they nailed it. Like I was like, oh, you did such a good job of pulling together, like pulling the song in, which by a group called Creepy Nuts. And they do the ending as well. And it's like you pull this song Falling, I think is whatever it is, into this whole idea of like, well, vampires can fly and float and stuff, and gravity's not really a thing to them. And so, you know, what if we have a lot of like movement through the skies and all sorts of thing? Is it Crazy Nuts? Did I get it wrong? I thought it was Creepy Nuts. Oh, whatever. Anyway, just the look of the opening is amazing. And then you watch the show, and the show is like, they couldn't just do, because I like the whole pinks and purples, right? This is really good. But it's like, we can't just do that to illustrate nighttime, because that isn't what you get all the time. It isn't just like dark, dark, dark skies and then like lots of like this kind of neon light or whatever. It's like, there's going to be times when it's orange outside, like lots of orange and green, because it's being lit by sodium lights. And so rather than just having like point lighting come off that's orange, it's like, no, the whole scene is orange and yellow and seems like it should be, it seems like it should be like daytime because it's so bright, but it's not. And that's what's interesting about it too, is because, yeah, the city at night, especially a big city, right, making its own light and making the kind of artificial colors that you wouldn't see in the daytime, because there are times when this takes place during the day, and when it's day, it's day. There's never like, it's not rainy. It's like, there's times when it's like overcast, you'll have like the gray kind of whatever too, but it's mostly like blue skies and clouds. And it's like, whoever's doing color on this is they were just given like carte blanche. It's like, this has got to look amazing. And they're like, oh, well, let me be the color director and I'll give you color. And they really leaned into the idea of like, you can't just have dark. You can't just have black. You can't just have that. It has to be, the city is what's important. And the way that the city feels when you're walking around at night, where it feels like a completely different world. And how we're going to represent that is through all this light. And we're going to light people dramatically, and we're going to light things in different ways. There's going to be lots of shadow, but even the shadows are like, they're filled with light. And it just, it's so pretty to watch. I really, really loved, like, when I sat down, like, this is an adaptation that takes the manga and elevates it. And the manga's good. Like, I like the story. It's complicated. It's more complex. It has deeper parts to it. But this is great. This is like, we understood what was good about this, but we know we get to do color and we get to do movement. So we're going to give you great action, and we're going to give you a lot of good stuff to look at. And it's so fun. And, yeah, I'm just like, it's hard to probably square that with a lot of the like, do you like a vampire story? This is an interesting and different kind of vampire story, because the crux of it is, and so I'll give you the spoiler of, like, you're going to find this out a few into anyway. The crux of it is that if you want to become a vampire, like, vampires turn people because they get those people to fall in love with them. There's a charm that if you can get them to do that, then when they fall in love with you and you bite them, then you can turn them and make them offspring. That's what you want to do. Ko doesn't really, as a 14-year-old kid, he's one of the rare 14-year-old boys I've seen in an anime series that doesn't get love. You know, it's like, he doesn't get what it means to fall in love with somebody or to love somebody, or even just, you know, that kind of thing. And so he doesn't get it, but he's like, okay, well, if that's what it takes, then I'm going to fall in love with Nazna. And she's like, and what's great about that too, is that Nazna is not, doesn't really get how that's supposed to even happen, but she's coming across like she gets all this stuff because she's been around for a while as well. And there is stuff in the story that we might never get. If they make more of this, I don't even think they're going to have time to get to the rest of what's going on in the story. But there is more complicated stuff happening in regards to who Nazna is and how she relates to people and other vampires. It's really, really interesting to see what's being set up in the story and what happens. And there is some stuff that is chuny as fuck, let me tell you. Like, right now and what's going on, I'm like, oh man, I would not have picked this direction for the manga, because it really seems like I have a problem with a lot of this, because it's just like, it seems tropey as fuck, but I'm like, I'll just live with it and go with it, and that's fine. So yeah, it's been very interesting. I really love this, and if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, and you don't mind the vampire thing, or you don't mind a different take on a vampire thing, not that different, but a little different, definitely watch it. Yeah, I think it's like super strong. Like, it's, and she is hard brat energy. Like, it is just like she is a pain in the ass. That's the best thing you can say about her. And that makes her interesting actually too. The ending sequence is basically, it's Nazna in situations and stuff, and you're just kind of like, yeah, everything you're doing in the ending sequence totally lines up with the kind of character that you are. And the ending song is like, the translation of it is like, there is some lewd shit going on there as well, but it's oddly human. Like, it feels very human as it very much about being an adolescent, the song is. And it's a very like rough take on being an adolescent. I really like it. So it's like, yeah, I'm arriving in time for the goblin vampire. I'm like, yeah, she is a goblin. She's just so much fun because of that too. And that archetype in real life, I don't know if I can actually deal with, but maybe I can. What do I know? But yeah, it's super fun to watch in the anime. Top notch. I loved it. Yojo Time Machine Blues. I can't find this anywhere. So, yeah. If I can, I'd like to watch it. I know that it's a sequel to Yojo Hashinwa Taikei, which is the Tatami Galaxy, I think is what this was originally. I mean, you can tell from the look of it that it's supposed to, and it is a sequel. I don't know if it's a direct sequel as much as it's like maybe a side sequel. Like, it happens in the same universe, happens in the same boarding house, like whatever. I'd like to watch it. So if it has kind of the same energy as that, and like Night is Long, Walk On Girl, then yeah, I think I'd be totally into this. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe at some point I'll track it down and be able to watch it. Yoru wa neko to issho. Oh, this looks so cute, and it's still going on. It's a short, so maybe it's also being shown on YouTube. If I get to see it, something about these eyes, the character look, it's like Wakakozake to me. Whenever I see characters like this, I told Corey once that I thought that the main character from Wakakozake, it's like you and her seem like the same kind of person to me. She's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, yeah, you just do. So, this looks cute though. I probably would watch it. I mean, it's a short, right? You just put a little energy into it, but I haven't been able to find it. So anyway, Yokuso Jitsuryoku Shijo Shugi no Kyoshitsue. Second season, didn't watch the first. Moving on. Yude Deko. Oh yeah, Science Saru. Okay. Now, if it wasn't for Ian and Corey telling me all about Science Saru in the first place, to be like, keep an eye out for these people. Like, they do interesting stuff, and watching some of their movies and being like, yeah, they do interesting movies and stuff. This is an interesting series. It is not just from the look. We can start with the look. The look is quite flat and very stylized. People always say stylized, right? But I'm like, let's look at our characters here, right? We have kind of normal girl situation there, and we have Haku, who's like, this is Barry and this is Hack, and Hack is like, I've got my weird hair and the big goggles and like I'm very much like running around getting up to shit. We have, is it Hank, and then Finn, and then I forget Watson. That's who the cat person is, and we have the granny, and we have Smiley, and right, they made Azoken. Thank you, Pat. I really like this because it's like this thing of people walk around on this island. The terrible names for the island. The island is called Tom Sawyer, and they all have these decos, which are, as far as I can tell, it's both the things that you have installed in your eye, and then also the things that you use to decorate the space around you. But they mean more the thing that you see in your eye, really. And the idea is that there's all this digital stuff that's around you, all the stuff that you see that looks like crazy, like all the colorful stuff, is all things that people have designed and put into place. And as the show goes on, you start to discover that a lot of those things, this is just background stuff, they don't really get into what this means, but a lot of these things are there because they're, like you don't want people to walk into an alley. Well, then what you do is you put a deco across that alley, the alley entrance. That's a big sign, and it's pretty and bright and gorgeous and whatever. But because there's a thing there, people won't walk into that alley because they'll treat that as it's a wall, essentially. And that means people have made stuff to decorate themselves and to change what they look like, but to also change the things around them. And it seems like they sell them as well if you want to, but people also give out love, which is like a currency on the island, as you hand out love, which is likes, that kind of thing. People trying to collect love. But there's a phenomenon where, there's the zero phenomenon where love in certain areas is just taken down to zero immediately. And they think that Phantom Zero is behind that, but it's because there's also a video game called Phantom Zero, and you can play the game, but there's also like what Phantom Zero actually causes zero phenomenon. There's a whole bunch of like, the metaverse exists beyond this. It's an augmented reality. It's augmented reality. But then there's a hyperverse that you can like move your brain into, kind of idea. And it's interesting. Like I really think it's quite cool. It does not stick the landing, which is too bad. The last few episodes are very actiony and all that kind of stuff. And you get into the last episode and I'm like, oh, you worked really hard to get here. Now, literally and figuratively, it is, you worked really hard to get here, but we're not going to give you, much of what you need, but we are going to give you an ending. And it's kind of like, okay. And I felt bad about that. And I love because like the character designs are all unique silhouettes. Oh, I love that so much. Whenever you have characters, it's like I can see a silhouette and I know exactly who they are. I really get that now, why that's really important. And it's like, that's great. They do that in One Piece, and I have no idea what that show's about. But yeah, this is like all these great kind of things, a lot of ideas that you've probably seen before in other places, but fun, neat kind of look at how some of this stuff works. I liked getting a chance to watch this. The songs are all right. The opening and ending songs are pretty good. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I find it's like, it's the tinier things are more important. There is a thread. There's like a couple episodes that deals with the fact that people just cover their garbage up with, because the garbage compactors break down or whatever, so people just cover their garbage up with decos, and it's like, you don't have to look at them. I'm like, you have to smell them. They'd still be there. Like, there's like, oh, but it's beautiful, whatever kind of. It's like, you could really get into what that stuff means and what it means to have a central organization running things around, the customer center with 2 capital C's running stuff. I'm like, there's so much more here that could have been explored in a way that was like the kind of way that, like, I don't know, Ghost in the Shell or Pat Labor, like 90s sci-fi would have approached this kind of problem, would have really dug into some of these things. But in this case, it's like, it's a much airier look at this kind of thing. And because it's more in the air, then we have to approach it like it's a much like, wispier kind of thing. We don't look at the hard problems. We just look at we just look at the larger issue, and we'll tackle that. It's fun. It could have been better, but I had a good time watching it. So I'm like, I don't feel bad that I watched it. Moving on. Yudo Camp movie. Haven't seen that yet. I'm interested in watching this, and hopefully at some point I will track it down and watch it, because I like Yudo Camp. Yusha yamimasu, kenshu, ryoko, mokuteki o Miyushinao. That's an interesting thing. I've not. Yuta Yamimas. It's an OVA. No, didn't watch it. Whatever. Zannen na Ikimono Jiten, the movie. Well, I don't know what any of that's about. Focuses on strange and unfortunate animals that live in 3 areas: Antarctica, Australia, and the Yasumi Basin in Nagano Prefecture, Japan. Those are 3 very different places. Like, holy crap. Okay, cool. But whatever. But didn't watch that. And that takes us to the site theme. So that's anime for last season. So let's see, what was the thing I enjoyed the most? I'm going to have to probably move through this pretty fast. Thing I enjoyed the most that I watched? It probably would have been like, I'm glad this thing came up this season. What was it? I mean, Mao-sama was fun because I get to watch that with Heather. No. Isekai Oji-san, I think, might be at the top. I really liked Isekai Yakyoku as well. I think I'd probably put Isekai Oji-san above that, but was there something else? Because I didn't watch a lot of stuff, remember? And again, yeah, but not my top favorite. Isekai Oji-san was really good. God, I think it's going to be Yofukashi no Uta. I'll be sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Call of the Night. That was probably my favorite thing to watch. The thing I was most excited to see every single time. So we're going to change this to fall. If anyone's wondering why it looks so different, it's because I am zoomed in so much that it does that. Let it call up all those things. And so we're going to move into fall now, everybody. So, yeah, it's, I guess, okay, I will stop for a second. Yeah, Yofukashi no Uta, Call of the Night. It was the vampire one. It was gorgeous. It had great music. And it was an adaptation of something I was already reading and having a great time with. So if you're following along at home, you can, hang on, you can totally check out this. Where I am is anniechart.net. I think annilist.co is like part of that whole thing as well. but anychart.net will take you to where this is. I love Demon Girl Next Door. Machikado Mazoku. I was so glad I got a second season. I really enjoyed watching that. I love the just the whole energy of the manga is great, and I'm glad that it translates to anime so well, and I hope they finish it. I hope the manga finishes, and I hope they let the anime play out everything as well, because I'm like, that sounds great. I'm on board. So yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Now, I would have normally marked a lot of this stuff already, but I marked it on my other computer, and for whatever reason, it didn't seem to save the things as being marked, and so I'm gonna just have to go through these one by one, and we'll talk about those. And it is 8:19. What's my up dog? Have I been? Let's see. Up time, he said. Okay. Well. Crap. Do we start now, or do I try to take a break? Screw it. We'll start now. It'll be fine. We'll take a break, obviously, in the middle, and then we'll do another ad break and whatever. But let's start. Yonin wa sorezore uso o tsuku. The school comedy story follows 4 friends at a girls' school. They may seem like ordinary second-year junior high school students. So we have the Chuni thing here. At first glance, but they are a space pilot, a ninja without a clan, a girl with supernatural powers, and a boy in girl's clothes. I watched the PV for this, and I was like, wow, it just is what it is. Okay. It is a slice of life, and the space pilot, in so much as an alien in a UFO, like that kind of thing. But the UFO is there in the show, apparently. And I'm just like, fine, I will watch an episode of this. We'll see what happens. Doodle says, this almost had my attention until I saw the quality of the animation. So this might have bad quality animation. I might still watch it anyway, just to, I'm going to watch an episode of it at least. And if it's interesting, I'll watch a few. And if it continues to be interesting, I'll watch the rest of it, because maybe it won't matter that if the animation sucks a lot. I mean, I know there are things where it's like Berserk, where, they're making a new Berserk also, but it's like, Berserk apparently had shit animation. And I'm like, well, if the story's interesting, maybe you'd look beyond it, but maybe you'd be unable to. So that's always a trouble too. But I'm going to watch some of this. We'll see whether this is my jam or not. Moving on. Akiba made Senso. Now this seems like it should be my jam, right? It's an Akihabara. It's the spring of 1999. Oh my God. We're just going to jump back in time. Working at the pig hut, nobody beats the hut. Akiba made war, right? Senso, that's what that is, as Doodles points out. And I'm just like, I don't know about the war thing, especially because it's like everything's not as seen in the maid cafes of Akihabara, an action thriller. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be my jam. But, the guy, Pat Bear tells me, the Mother's Basement guy was talking this up. Maybe it's good. I looked at this and I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch action things as well, though, right? So we'll see. If a lot of people go on about how it's really good, I will probably think about it. But yeah, move on. Akiaku Reijo Nano de Last Boss o Katte Mimashita. This is another, hey, I'm in an otome game that I was playing because I was dying, and I guess I must have died, and I woke up in the world of the otome game. And I'm the villainess, and so I'm going to conquer the last boss, or the final boss, who is this guy here. And it probably plays out the way you expect, but also, I don't know, it's a cute idea, because it's like, she's supposed to be the villainess, obviously, and she realizes at the last second that she's like, oh God, I'm in the moment where I'm getting denounced and thrown out. Okay. Now you have to do sometimes you have to do some like heavy lifting in like the villainous shows to be like, we need to find a way to make the villainous character likable or have other things going on or whatever. And sometimes that undercuts the original premise of, oh, she was an evil villain, right? And she did all these terrible things. what I've seen so far is that there have been some beats in the Otome game plot that happen despite the fact that she's no longer involved with making them happen, but they still have to happen. And that's like a lot of these kind of like villainous Otome game things where it's like I have to try to change some shit. But in like Hamefura, right, in Bakarina, if people called it, but in Hamefura, those flags don't fire because she's changed the game with everybody without noticing it. In other series, those flags will fire because now other people have to get pulled in to make those things happen. And it's fun. I really like it. I would totally say give it 3 episodes or so and see if you like it too, because it definitely is kind of like we need to wash our hands of some of the Otome game trappings, but that's okay. And then we need to kind of think about what's actually happening. But it's cute. It's nice. I'd give it a shot. Arc Knights. I don't play Arc Knights, so I don't think I'm going to watch that. Reime Zenso. So moving on. Aru Asa Dummy Head Mike ni natte ita Oreku no Jinsei. It's an ASMR anime. Oh, I see. Fuck. I love that it's a moai. That's really good. This thing just, I don't know why it doesn't have ecchi written right here next to it, because it really seems like, it's like the dude who gets reincarnated into a vending machine. Oh, no, wait, no, that's actually apparently pretty good. The isekai where he gets reincarnated into a vending machine. The one where the dude gets reincarnated into an onsen, he's the body of water. I'm like, wow, that's also going to be lewd as fuck, but I don't think that's an anime this season. That's just a manga I read once. I was like, okay, this is certainly a thing. Just the ASMR Club have their sights set on ASMR Koshien. I hope it's actually at fucking Koshien. If you're going to do this, then you should have to do your ASMR in the middle of the field from the pitcher's mound. You should totally do that. Something stupid like this, you should totally do that. But anyway, not going to watch this. There we go. Berserk. Ogon Jidaihen Memorial Edition. So we're getting more... Wait, hang on. Are we setting up the story? TV broadcast of the Golden Age film trilogy. Hundreds of new cuts. Yeah, it looks like what we're doing is setting up what actually happens. That I think we got that in the original Berserk as well, but anyway, not going to watch this because Berserk's kind of not my thing. Bleach. Sennen Kessenhen. Nope. I gave up on Bleach a while ago, so I keep rolling. Blue Lock. Just from the look of it, I was like, I don't think I want to watch this. Then I saw Soccer Ball. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is going to be my jam either. I don't know. I just, you know me in sports, I think, people, by this point. I've talked enough about that, so. Oh, look, mini anime, additional time. Nope, moving on. Why not call it stop time? I guess additional time because it's more stuff. Whatever. Stop time sounds like fun, but it's soccer meets a death game. I just, the more you talk about it, I'm not interested in it. Like that to me is like, I'm definitely not interested in it. Bocchi the Rock. Okay, comedy, music, slice of life. Different take on a K-On! Type thing, perhaps. We'll see. The thing of dreams of being in a band, hasn't made a single friend, meets somebody who plays the drums, looking for a new guitarist. I'm like, okay, this is because we need a way to kind of get everything rolling on this. I want to watch this. I liked Beck, right? Like, and I know Beck is not a whole comedy or whatever, but I'm like, but I liked Beck. I liked the idea of, even if really fucking unrealistic how it feels, where it's like, I learned to play the guitar in about a year and I fucking rule at it. And I'm just like, I don't believe you. I don't care what kind of nice, wonderful guitar you got from an older guy. I, maybe you have the spirit within you or something, but I'm like, sometimes I just don't buy it, right? Like, it's like a lot of people work really hard for a really long time. And not like they have to play like Satriani or something like that, but it's like a lot of people work really hard for a really long time to get really good at that kind of thing. Music is hard to do. And like even the guys who are in The Offspring, Offspring was like, if I remember correctly, these guys were doing this for fun in university while they were trying to get their degrees. And they just liked to play, and they kept playing and kept doing that kind of thing. And then they were like, you know what? Like, why don't we stop our law degrees, medical degrees? I can't remember what it is. What if we just actually did, we can always go back to school. What if we actually just did Offspring as a thing? And they did. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that they did it for a year and we're like, we should become a professional band. Like, it wasn't like we did this thing for a year and now all of a sudden we got signed to a label. It's like, the shit doesn't happen. And it frustrates me whenever I see that kind of thing where it's like I like to think of K-On! As when we see them in the show, that's them, doing their thing in school, right? It's like we're learning to play light music thing and we're having fun and we're really gelling as a group. I'm like, okay, I get that. Nothing terribly complicated, but I get that you're doing that. And when you watch the ending sequences, I'm like, that's them 3 or 4 years from now. That's them when they're in university and now they have done a lot more and they've really turned the shit up on what they're capable of doing. And I'm like, I don't discount the fact that there are high schoolers who could play like the way that they play, but those are kids that have all been playing that intensely since they've been like 8 years old, right? Like they've been learning guitar and bass and all and playing the drums and whatnot from that time and really leaning into getting really, really good at it. I'm like, yes, okay, I get it. So anyway, I'm going to watch this. I hope it's really good. Boku ga ashita subete no kimi e. It's a movie coming out at some point. Parallel universes. Koyomi Takasaki lives with his mother after his parents' recent divorce. Awkward and studious, he has trouble making friends at his new school until his classmate Kazune Takigawa seeks him out. She claims that she moved here from another world where she and Takasaki are lovers. That's a hell of a way to pick somebody up. But could he be the one who's actually from a parallel world? Fine. I'll watch it. We watched Your Name. Your Name was really good. It was really interesting. I liked it a lot. There's a second movie that pairs with this one. Great. Okay. You know what? I'm more on board with this now all of a sudden. If we get to watch both movies, that's kind of fun. That is okay. I have got to be clear that it is a ballsy move to say we're making one movie and then we're going to make the companion movie. Not this is because Quest here is saying there's a second movie that pairs with it. Not like it's a sequel or a prequel. That there's another movie that I'm sure is the other side of this story. And I'm like, that is a ballsy move to say we're going to make two movies that are the same thing happening, but why is it happening and how do the characters act differently when they're in it? It sounds great. So anyway, yeah, I'll take a chance on a gimmick. Why not? Boku no Hero Academia 6. Haven't watched any of the other 5 seasons. Bokura no Yoake. This is a movie. In 2038, Sawatari Yuma is an elementary school kid who loves everything about space and astronomy. Initially excited when his parents bought a robot called Nanako, but he was disappointed when he learned that she was basically just a boring housekeeping robot. However, when he finally does try to talk to her about space, something strange happens. Her system crashes and is taken over by what claims to be a marooned alien ship. The alien ship wants Yuma's help to get back to space. It's Flight of the Navigator. If I see this show up on a feed or on Ian's Plex or something like that, I will probably just watch this. It seems interesting enough. Sidanchi. No, I don't do horror. Very hard to convince me of that. Oh, it's a Toonami Adult Swim thing. I don't do horror. So we will not be doing Sidanchi. I will not be doing it. So I'll be moving on. Chainsaw Man. Hard ask, ladies and gentlemen. I will be watching this because I've read about, I think, the first 10 chapters. I'm not reading more of it. I'm going to watch the first episode of it. I can kind of deal with it because it's ridiculous. It's, as you can see, the blood, it's going to be gory, right? I'm going to watch the first episode. If I cannot handle it, then I'm going to drop it. And I'm not going to drop it probably not because I think it would be bad quality or whatnot. That's not a thing on me. That's a thing on, or not a thing on the show. It's a thing on me probably not being able to deal with it. So I will move on. It is if you're an unfamiliar with Chainsaw Man, Denji is a teenage boy living with a chainsaw devil named Pochita. Due to the debt his father left behind, he's been living a rock-bottom life while repaying his debt by harvesting devil corpses with Pochita. One day, Denji is betrayed and killed. As his consciousness fades, he makes a contract with Pochita and gets revived as Chainsaw Man, a man with a devil's heart. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Chojigen game Neptune. This is not Neptunia. This is something different. The animation, Nepu Nepu Darake no Festival. Second installment of this thing. Well, I haven't seen the first one, so I probably will not watch that. Just like that it's bundled with a figure. Moving on. Cool Doji Danshi. It's a TV short. If it gets translated, then great. I'm interested in this idea. A bunch of goofy guys who try to look cool all day, every day. Yes, I'm down with this. Let me watch this, please. Maybe it won't get translated. Who knows? But yeah, play it cool, guys. This is largely what I liked about Danshi Kokosei no Nichijo. That it is a bunch of just idiot high schoolers hanging. It's like Niji Ito Days is another example of that. Two very different examples of the same thing. Of here's a bunch of hot guys, Niji Ito Days. Here's a bunch of hot guys hanging out, but just kind of like being guys and kind of dumb in some ways, right? Like, yeah. But then also like what is the term? Nichi Danshi? Danshijo? What people were nicking it down to? Danshi Kokosei no Nichijo. That one being like, here's a bunch of guys who are just dorks, because that's what a lot of high school guys are like. The guys at the top of the thing, like whoever are the guys who are like at the top of the cool guy thing, I'm sure by and large, when they were by themselves with their buddies, they were all just big dorks anyway for the stuff that they liked. You know, I was not at the top of the pecking order. I was a dork all the time. And that's just, you find guys who are dorks like you and you dork out together, and that's great. So I will get my dork out with these dudes. Do it yourself. It's the stupidest first episode I've ever seen. Do it yourself, bang bang. Okay, which of these is the main character? Right? You haven't seen it yet. If you haven't seen it yet, which of these is the main character? It's hard to tell because in a lot of ways, it's like none of them are really like pride of place. You're like, who would actually be the main character in this thing? It's her. It's her right there. The very light brown hair, the big smile, the real just kind of dumb look on her face, holding the drill and having the thing. This is our second girl. Right here, and this is the childhood best friend of this one, and this is fun. This is stupid. It's an interesting world, I will say right off the top. The show has no animation, and at the start of it, we're kind of just like above the town, just kind of like moving along the houses and stuff, and you just see a drone just kind of go by, like in like the 3/4 view as well, just running in a straight line. Just it's not making sweeping motions. It's doing the thing you do to just kind of be like, I just need to do this animation as cheap as I possibly can. And then there's another one in the distance doing the same thing. It's like, yeah, they're just kind of, and there's that kind of thing. And it's like, okay, so there's drones doing a lot of stuff. That's interesting, whatever. And then you see the buses, and the buses are all like 10-person or 8-person autonomous cars that are just all glass and wheels. And they just pull up to a thing and people get out and the doors shut and they just keep moving on, and they're electric clearly because they're very quiet. And the one girl Pudding, who that's what Serufu, that's that girl there. Her name is Yua Serufu. Do it, Yua Serufu. Pudding here, which is the nickname that Serufu gives her, is her next door neighbor, and they are kind of like childhood friends. And she is a hard tsundere. I think she's all Tsunsun actually, but yeah. Anyway, she walks home and she gets to her house and the gate just just opens itself and she walks into it. And they're old style, like, you know, standard style Japanese houses, but she's just a gate that just goes and she walks in and she like has this face. She permanently has this face in the show. And she looks up in the corner and there's a camera in her house and it captures her face and the doors open and there's like a little robot in the house that welcomes her home and whatever. It's like the house is kind of all tricked out with stuff, but it is a very like your normal ass Japanese house that you've seen in 100 anime. And Serufu comes home and she has to open the gate herself and she has to open the door to her house herself. And she rides like a steel bicycle that doesn't have like electric assist or anything like that. And I'm just like, I loved this idea. I'm going to watch more of the show, by the way, but I loved this idea because it's near future enough in that way that like anime tends to be really good at. And I want you to think of like Pat Labor in that response. You know, it's like this anime takes place, you know, this story takes place 10 years in the future. And you're like, I guess in 10 years you could build giant robots that can walk around and like be fixing shit and whatever else and still use landlines and still have CRT televisions. Like there's that sense of whatever it is you want to concentrate on for your weird future thing, you can do that. That's fine. Ghost in the Shell, kind of like the same thing, but much more in the future, right? 50, 100, 150 years in the future, maybe, that kind of idea. We can have full body cyborgs and we can have, typey with thousands of fingers inside your other fingers, like that kind of those scenes, right? You can have that kind of sci-fi thing, but at the same time, the long shots of the Ghost in the Shell movie were, you know, like the long shots of like, let's show where we are. Let's give you a sense of the environment. Everyone lives in the same kind of houses and they still have CRT televisions. Some of them even have rabbit ears and they still have like, nobody has like dishwasher robots, right? They all still do their dishes in the sink and they have to put that stuff away. And there's that sense in anime that if you're going to do the future, don't forget to include the past because so many things don't change. We have these magical devices that can do all sorts of stuff right now, right? Like put $1,000 to put a computer in my pocket that is more powerful than anything that we ever would have had like back in the day, back in like the 90s, right? That kind of thing. I'm taking screenshots for no reason. But I still use a key in my doors. And that's what I love about when anime does stuff like this, when it's like, you know, I can buy an electronic door locks and I can do whatever. It's like, yeah, but I have to like, you know, I have to put a key in my door lock and turn it and open it to get in. I have to do that again to get into like other places. It's like, there's so much about your living environment, not just your house. Like, I mean, even outside your house, there's so much about that where things do not change. And whenever you think of like Western futurism, it's all or nothing, right? It's glass bubbles and fucking railways that go everywhere and like everything's electric and there's green all over everything else. And it's a kind of that futurism that is really a lot like rooted in retrofuturism, right? The Jetsons, you know, that kind of idea. It's like we'll all be living in the year 2000, we'll be living above the clouds in giant glass domes and we'll be driving our bubble cars around that fly. It's like we're never going to have flying cars. It's the dumbest idea that anyone's thought of ever. And getting flying cars is a stupid fucking idea. And we don't need flying cars anymore. We should abandon that idea and we should just move on to make stuff that doesn't burn fossil fuels, right? Like it's like, we are not going to get to those points and then everything changes. It's not going to happen. You know, this is all going to be slow evolution. I go into a brand new house, like beautifully built, new condos and stuff like that have like, you know, programmable thermostats. And you know how they heat the house? They heat them with things on the wall, like the one I have over here. They have electric registers and stuff, right? It's like maybe some of them will have like, you know, built-in in-floor heating, but we've had in-floor heating for how many years that are like that too. And I'm just like, so that's what I like about this setting is that not only is it near future, not everything has changed, and the focus of the show is home center DIY. That it's like, despite the future we live in, there's this idea that's still very applicable to the world we live in. And I've watched one episode of it. And the main character is the dumbest name. But it's fine. And I'm gonna watch more of it. And hopefully it gets better. And even if it just is like kind of the same thing all the way through, let's see what happens. All right. I think we have uptimed a lot. And before I talk about the next thing, we are going to take that next break. So let's do that. And I will take a commercial. I will see you guys in a few minutes. I hope the ad ran. Pretty sure I clicked that button. Anyway. I'm seeing, yes, the people who work in tech. I have no technology in my house except a printer, and I keep a gun beside it in case it makes a noise I don't recognize. Is a classic. Did I write Bomus stream? Fuck it, I'm not changing it now. Doesn't matter. Yeah, there's an M. Whatever. The Moonbase has an HP OfficeJet Pro that from the very beginning I didn't want because I was like, don't buy an HP and put it in the office. We have an HP LaserJet, like a little personal one from a long time ago. That's great because it is just what it is. It's a little laser printer, USB only, which kind of sucks because it has to be shared out on a computer through everywhere else. And that thing is great because anything that HP built like about 15 years ago is kind of like, top notch, whatever. But that thing has never choked for us. It's always been good. You run off scripts all the time on if we needed to. But then we moved in the new office. We're like, we should get ourselves like a nicer printer. So also that we can print stuff in color when we need to do props, or we need to like print proxies or anything like that. It's like we have a thing we can use it for, all those kind of things. Like, well, we should get something with a scanner in it too. Like, okay, we'll just buy a full multifunction that has a fax machine, even though we're never going to use the fax machine. But that's fine. We can make copies with it if we need to. Who cares? The moment you get an MFP with a scanner in it, you're like, okay, I can scan and whatever. It's like, well, then faxing has actually gotten even cheaper to include in those damn things. But for whatever reason, we bought an HP. And I was like, no. And it's like, well, it's an OfficeJet Pro, right? And as Bytecaster puts it, the business product lines are often fine. The consumer printers suck. And I'm like, I don't trust anything that HP makes other than like, give me an HP LaserJet 4000. I'll be happy for the rest of my life. But HP multifunctions, I'm just like, they have been doing all sorts of crazy shit and I don't trust them. And I'd rather just buy a Brother because I know that the Brothers, for the most part, will work really well with Mac OS, but also that they tend not to be anywhere near as egregious. The Canons have been kind of not great either. Epson would be fine if you could, but even then I start to like, I've heard stories about Epsons that are just not great, and I'm like, but not an HP. And then we bought an HP, and I'm like, fuck. And I was like, no matter what, we're not buying a Samsung. I refuse. I refuse to have anything Samsung in the Moonbase if I can help it. That is a moral position I'm taking. And then I ended up like getting a Samsung TV for my house because it was incredibly cheap. I picked up at a garage sale. I was like, I guess I'm getting this because we need a TV, so I'm getting this. So anyway, recently though, the office shit was working great. So I'm like, okay, maybe this thing is fine. Maybe there's differences here. Maybe these ones are better. And then we ran out of ink, and I put a brand new, still in the package. We'd had it for a couple of years, but brand new, still in the package, tank of ink inside. And it said no third-party ink. And I'm like, you motherfucker, this is an HP tank. It came right out of the packaging. It has your labels and everything all over it. And it's like, no, we don't accept third-party whatever. And I'm like, no. And I started looking at the dates on them. And the date said that this thing had expired a year ago. Had expired. A full tank of ink had expired a year ago, still in the box. And I looked into it some more, and they had done a firmware update, and I had left auto update on these things. It's like, we'll just send you updates all the time to make sure that the software is working great. Anytime we have bug fixes, we'll make sure they make it. I'm like, yes, okay, great. I guess I'll leave that on, because why not? I try to leave auto updates on a lot of things in the Moonbase, because frankly, we're not going around every day and checking to make sure if there's updates or not. So I'm like, I'd rather just try to stay on top of that, and hopefully we're not going to get bitten by anything that's too bad. So they updated the firmware on this thing that it would only accept stuff that was still no third-party stuff, and only official HP cartridges, and only stuff that was like still in warranty for ink. And I lost my shit. I'm like, we're getting rid of this thing. And everyone's like, maybe we don't get rid of it. And I'm like, what are we supposed to do about this anyway? So ultimately what we did is like, well, okay, the best thing to do right now is let's just buy brand new ink and put it in and use it. And we did. And then I came into the office the other day, and another tank had emptied, and like, what happened? Why is this thing saying that it's empty if we just bought a new one the other day? And of course, and I was like losing my shit. And I finally found out, because Ben's like, oh, I had to run a whole bunch of proxies off for a thing we were doing. So, and we used up a ton of the ink. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Well, the next printer we get, color laser jet. So I don't have to think about this shit. Because how did we go through an entire tank of ink printing off we must have printed a ton of proxies, right? But I'm like, at least if we have to buy toner for a laser, yes, the prints aren't going to be quite as nice on laser as they are on ink. But then again, we aren't printing all this stuff on nice premium inkjet paper anyway, and they're proxies. They're only meant to show up, on cameras. I'm like, whatever. So, hi.
I don't recall there being an anime about our printer problems.
There isn't. People were talking about it, and I'm like, well, now I'm here.
Weirdo.
So, and yeah, Epson has those printers that have giant tanks you can refill on your own, and I'm like, that would not be so bad if we were doing that kind of printing. But the thing is that I don't think we print anywhere near that amount of stuff to begin with. And if it turns out that if we start doing that, then I will look into doing that. But we'll see what happens. So, and Shadowhawk points up another problem, is that color laser jets can cost a shit ton of money on toner. So we might end up in a problem there too, where it's like, it doesn't make any sense for us to buy toner all the time, but we'll see what happens. We'll figure this out. Maybe it's worth doing that, but whatever. Move on. AQ Shonen, Eternal Boys, back to the anime. The Mature Idol Project. The latest project proposed by Manpuku Entertainment Productions in a bid to revive the company. Experienced in the successes and failures of the business world, six middle-aged men now face the many hurdles of age and physical ability whilst pursuing their goal to become idols. And let me tell you, as someone who is facing the many hurdles of age and physical ability, I think I'm into this shit. So I'm going to watch this, because yeah, I can't wait to see what they're able to achieve. What's funny is most of these people, I'm like, okay, so who do I think here is actually over 40? There's one. This guy right here, definitely over 40. This guy right here, almost assuredly, I can see being over 40. This guy here, you're going to tell me he's over 40. I'm not going to believe you, but I guess he is. This guy here, no. I don't buy it, because you look like the 17-year-olds in some of the... You look like you're supposed to be... Maybe you're 40, but you're playing a 17-year-old. This guy here, no. You should be heading up a shonen anime. This guy here, I'll believe it, but watch your step, McCoy. That's real close there. I don't know. Maybe putting you in the double-breasted with a turtleneck, maybe. But I mean, this dude here, I'm all about him being like, yeah, I'm going to make this work. So, yeah. We'll see. In a different anime, these people would be like these would be the kids that the JoJo characters have. Let's be honest. I'm watching that. Let's move on. Another lead-in films. Okay. Eternity. 21-minute journey through space that repeats creation expansion. Well, if I ever see it anywhere, maybe I'll watch it. Who knows? Exception. ONA. Distant future, human beings have been forced to leave Earth and migrate to another galaxy. Advanced team spacecraft arrives at the planet to be terraformed. Each member of the team's output is output by a biological 3D printer. Huh. I mean, it's horror, so I might not do it, but Interesting idea. Definitely. Special in fall, Fate Strange Fake. I don't do the Fate thing, so I'm going to move on. Fumetsu no Anatai Season 2. I haven't seen the original. Moving on. Futoku no Guild. Kikuru Madan. Madan is a monster hunter with excellent performance because of his particular job in the forest, but he decides to quit it because of fear wasting his own youth. Monster Girl Raiser. I don't know. I'm not into that. Hu ijo koibito miman. There's a couple words in there. So hu I think is like married folks. Koibito is lover. Let's see what happens. Oh, F. Right. Third year high school student Jiro Yakuin hoped to partner with Shiori Sakurazaka of the same class in the mandatory couple practical course. You know, the practical where students must demonstrate they have the necessary skill set to live with a partner of the opposite sex while presenting a certain level of harmony to the video surveillance that grades them. You know, the all-time video surveillance. You know what? Actually, in reading this, what pissed me off immediately was that I'd feel better if it was like, you know, we're pairing you off with, because I had to pair off with a girl in Calm class, career and life management in grade 11, to write budgets, and we had to act like roommates. That's how they treated it to be, because it used to be like, oh, we get you together with like your, you know, we draw a wife out of a thing for you and a husband out of a thing for you, and then you two have to husband and wife figure out how you're going to live your first few years together. And then eventually at some point they're like, hey, you know what? That's super fucking creepy. What if we just make them roommates? It's like, yeah, actually it makes better sense. Well, no, this is in Alberta, not in BC, J-Dog. So yeah, we made budgets, and we had to talk about how to budget to live in so it means we had to look up how much does it cost to live in a place that has 2 bedrooms. You know, hey, back when it was actually somewhat affordable to get a 2-bedroom apartment if you needed to. How much money are you both going to make? So how much money can you put into doing this kind of thing? And what's your grocery budget and all your like electric budgets and stuff like that? You have to look up how much all this stuff costs, and it's like, it's not much of a project. It was like a couple sessions we had to do, and then you have to, you know, hand it over like, you got marked. Great, whatever. Anyway, yeah. Random chance puts his slightly subdued self into a gyaru, and then a gyaru wanted to hang out with her crush, but the crush ended up with the other guy's crush, and it's, I don't know, it's fucking Toradora with like titties, I guess. Maybe. I don't get it. Moving on. I'm not watching it. Ginga Eiyu Densetsu Jinoye Tesu Sakubo. I haven't watched any of the new Legend of Galactic Heroes stuff or the remake of it, so I haven't really. I'd like to, but I kind of also want to just finish watching the old one. I don't think we're ever going to get around to that, so maybe I'll never do that. And maybe that's okay, and I'll come to terms with it pretty fast, I bet. Golden Kamuy got a 4th season. That's exciting for those of you who like Golden Kamuy. I can't action-adventure comedy. And also, you know, brutal shit going on in this from time to time, too. Fun show, or, you know, fun manga. I liked Golden Kamuy when I read in the manga. I liked it because it was interesting seeing Ainu. And, like, just as I'm reading it, I'm just kind of like, please don't fuck this up. Please don't fuck this up. And I don't know anything about Ainu, and all I'm like is like, please be true. Please be true. Please be true. It's like, if you're going to show me stuff about an indigenous group of people living in your country that you did your level best to get rid of, and let's be honest, a lot of our countries have done that as well. I'm like, please at least try to be respectful and try to be truthful in relating what goes on in their lives. And it felt true. But man, the violence when it happens in this show is hard to take, and not really comfortable with some of the violence. And so ultimately I was like, I have to peace out. And I like all the Ainu stuff. I wanted to read more about that because it's very interesting. If someone would make a frickin' manga about what goes on in Canada, I think that'd be interesting too. I've read the the Louis Riel graphic novel, which is very interesting, and learned a lot from that. But also, I was reading it quite fast, so I maybe didn't retain all I needed to. But definitely a very interesting read. But yeah, I love the stuff where it's like we want to immerse you into what the culture is like. We want to put you in a position where you're starting to understand that. And yeah, if people are okay, Symphonic Lolita points out, apparently Ainu people are saying there's been a lot of new interest in their culture because of this. Yes, 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 yes. Now that's great, because even if it's not totally faithful, there's probably lots of ways to take because they do this in Japan all the time, right? Where it's like you take the thing and then you put the pictures of it up next to the actual things in the museums or wherever, and you'd be like, actually, did you know that this is kind of true, but not exactly? And here's the thing that's more representative of that. And I'm like, that's kind of how you get people to, they could do that with Wolverine, right? It's like, okay, but actually a guy couldn't survive an atomic blast. Moving on, though. I'm not watching Golden Kamuy, but I hope you guys are enjoying it. Human Bug Daigaku. Sounds interesting. Satake Hirofumi is a prisoner on death row for murdering his fiancée. Hard start. He's also an undead man who has survived many desperate situations. For this, he has earned the interest of the... That's like Kaiji. For this, he has earned the interest of the research institution called Human Crazy University, which studies real-life miraculous phenomena and the people who become entangled in them. Now, as subject of their research, Satake relates to them his memories of his immortal yet unhappy life. Why did he kill his fiancée? Soon enough, the truth sheds light on a much bigger conspiracy. ... No, that's actually all there is. It's a comedy. Bioanol says this one is barely more animated than Inferno Cop, but I'm in for it. All right, I don't think I'm gonna watch it. It definitely has that kind of wacky thing going on in the fight and whatever. So, Pat Bear says my friend said this was badly animated, and he wasn't sure if it knew it was a comedy. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be my jam. So I move. What's funny is that like I've seen this style before, like very like Master Keaton kind of, but like drawn rougher. Anyway, moving on. Idolish 7 Third Beat Part 2, no. Isekai Make You de Harem OVA. Oh, unaired episodes. There's that H tag again. I will probably watch these to see what on the earth they're going to be. They're probably just heavy fuck episodes, I have a feeling. That's got to be what they are. They could be straight up hentai episodes for what I know, but we'll see. Jongtama Pong Special. No. Comedy, but Mahjong, no. Moving on. Kagami no Kojo. A movie. In a tranquil neighborhood of Tokyo, 7 teenagers wake to find their bedroom mirrors are shining. At a single touch, they are pulled from their lonely lives into a wondrous castle filled with winding stairways, watchful portraits, I never heard that before, and twinkling chandeliers. In this new sanctuary, they are confronted with a set of clues leading to a hidden room where one of them will be granted a wish. But there's a catch. If they don't leave the castle by 5 o'clock, they will be punished. As time passes, a devastating truth emerges. Only those brave enough to share their stories will be saved. Fantasy and mystery. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's my jam. I thought this is like a wolf person. I actually can't. Maybe it is. Can't quite make them out clearly enough. My eye's a little blurry. That's fine. We'll move on. Kage no Jitsuryo Kusha ni Naritakute. Some people just aren't suited to playing the part of the flashy in-your-face hero or the dastardly mustache-twirling villain with larger-than-life panache. Instead, they operate in the shadows and pull the strings of society through wit and cleverness. That's the role Sid wants to play when he's transported to another world. There should be an isekai tag. Sid spins a yarn or 3 and becomes the unlikely leader of the underground Shadow Garden organization that fights against a menacing cult, which he totally made up. However, there's a catch. Even his wilder imagination didn't see coming. The cult he concocted actually exists, and they're beyond displeased as power fantasy just got in the way of their evil plans, which to me means that by virtue of him going there and making it up, he created it by means of saying, this is the thing that I'm doing. Cause yeah, whatever. Probably is what happened, is that this got spun out of whole cloth just because it's like, oh, I think this is the reason we exist. It's like, oh, well, that actually existed for a while. Very Haruhi kind of thing, I'm sure. I'm not saying this is going to be like Haruhi. I have no idea what the hell this is going to be like because I'm not going to watch it. Moving on. Kame no Kora wa Abarabone, a movie adaptation based on Satoshi Kawasaki's picture book. See, now I like Roku Rokubi. They're fun. I'm sure they're terrifying if I go to Japan and meet one in real life, but yeah, not a probably not going to watch the movie unless like it gets a lot of buzz, people talk about it and like it. I don't know. Moving on. Kankole. No. Sorry, not watching that. Oh, not watching this second season mini anime of Rental Girlfriend. Kido Senshi Gundam Suisei no Majo. Not watching that. Okay, I'm not going to be a jerk about this. Now, I want to be honest. I am not watching this. I am interested in The Witch from Mercury. Let me be honest, because again, I hang out on the Yuri Manga Discord, and there already has been some hard like, hey, this is it's gonna happen here. That's what there's gonna be, is some of this. And apparently the anime. I mean, look, we're doing the outstretched hands thing, right? That's if you can't read that Utena shit right there, like this is a thing. Lesbians love hands, I guess. I don't know, but it's like that. This is a trope at this point. So, yes, Mercury. It's I have a feeling if they're going to make actually a canon Yuri relationship, or that's going to be a major part of this thing, then great. Cool, have fun, awesome. I've seen people here already say episode 1 is literally Utena with mobile suits. There's they twirl around each other in the intro. Yeah, that's going to happen. All that kind of stuff. And it's like, I would want to watch this if I know that this isn't going to be like a rug pull thing, right? And I haven't watched any Gundams in a while. So maybe watching a Gundam series might be fun. I already saw some animation because somebody posted a thing being like, oh, I watched the part of the fight and the music was really familiar. And then I realized if I pitched it a half step down, oh no, and it was like a Linkin Park song. And it's like, now it's 2003 and I'm watching EMVs all over again. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. That's all I've seen is just that one thing. And I was like, okay. Oh, the showrunner's the author of the Utena light novel adaptation. Thank you, Gibbous. Okay. Maybe, maybe there's... We're gonna achieve something here. I have no idea how long this series is supposed to run for. Maybe I will go back and pop it in my list and actually give it a watch. But yeah, let's see. I'm into it if that's the direction they want to go with it. If it's like if you're gonna have like, because I don't care if that's the central point of the show. If it's a Gundam show that's doing the political thing that Gundam stuff does, and there's all the Gundam-y Gundam that's going on in the Gundam, that's fine. And if the side thing is that, but also we have two ladies can have a relationship with each other for real, for honest, and let them do it, just let them have the relationship, however that needs to come out, I'm like, then do that. That's great. I love the Owl House. And that doesn't, like, the Owl House is not like this, like, well, we have to, it has to be like, now we have to make them 18 years old and we have to see them kissing and adopting a child and stuff, all that kind of, it's like, no, you don't ever have to do that. You can let the relationship play out the way that it makes sense to play out in the story. And this can play out the way that makes sense in the story, obviously, but I just want to see, a relationship come to fruition and not just be like, but maybe, and like, no. I want some shit to happen, make things happen. So I love Yuri stories. I don't know why, but I just I'm a big fan of that. So Oh, is Iron Blood Orphans really? It's queer as well, apparently? Nice. I think that Yuri stories are more interesting because I've seen so many um, boy girl relationships, and it's like I've seen so many of those that I'm kind of like I find them a little boring and tropey and whatever, and I'm like I can't relate to this other thing, and it is a little more. There's always that thing of like there's that sense of oh, but if other people see us dating, they're gonna have problems with that. That kind of that idea that follows over. And I'm like, because the world is changing so much, it's like that's less and less likely. You're hoping that everywhere, right? But you always still know there's going to be a thing. And I'm just kind of like, it's something about that tied up in the drama of the Yuri relationships that I always find really interesting, especially when that drama doesn't exist because the world that they live in is designed to not let that happen. Like, it's like, this is a version of Japan where nobody gives a shit. And I'm like, that's fresh and fascinating as well. Wait, that's literally just a boy and a girl dating at that point. But, but then it isn't. But it's because there's yeah. Anyway. So, I mean, more recently, I read Accept My Fists of Love, which is now being translated as Catch These Hands, which is such a great title. It's such a great title. And it's about two girls who were delinquents in high school and them being meeting each other again as adults and kind of both being like not really having like solid jobs, but kind of like seeing each other again. And they were always like at each other's throats before, but now it's like the one of them is like, I think I like you. And the other one's like, what are you talking about? Aren't we going to have a battle? And it's like, no, I think I like you. It's a manga I'm reading. So yeah, if you, I think you can find that on Dynasty Reader or on Manga Dex, Accept These Fists of Love. And I think the English manga is coming out soonish. I think Seven Seas picked it up anyway. But yeah, Catch These Hands. No, it's just the manga right now. If it gets an anime adaptation, that'll be fun. But it'd probably end up being like a short because I don't know how you'd ride it out, but. Anyway, this is that companion movie that got mentioned earlier to the other one where it's alternate universes. So yeah, this is. I will. Yeah, this is the one where after his parents' recent divorce, Komi lives with his father and falls in love with Shiori Sato. Their parents get remarried to each other. Parallel world where Komi and Shiori begin together as lovers, not as step siblings. I didn't remember that coming up in the other one. That's interesting. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, yeah. The two worlds are different and more than the way that they're in one they're dating and in one they're not. It's much different. So, anyway. I'm going to watch that if I see that. If I see both of those pop up, I will watch them both. Koukyu no Karasu, or Raven, the Raven Consort of the Inner Palace. I can't remember what they're calling this in English. Koukyu no Karasu. Raven Consort is the thing you need to know about. Definitely set in China, medieval dynasties. Like I don't know what you would even call this. So anyway, it's I think this is interesting. I know what I wanted instead. But I watched the first two episodes and this is fine so far. It is largely a mystery series. This dude's the Emperor. Just it's not going to matter much, but this dude's the Emperor. And yeah, and she's magical. There is mystical Chinese magic involving flowers. And yeah, there's it's pretty good. I like it so far. We've solved a mystery right off the bat. I'm hoping for better mysteries. But you know what I really want more than this is I want... come on, Hoshigoto. What is the thing again? The pharmacists... Kusuria no Hitorigoto. Yeah, there we go. Go look that up. Kusuriya no Hitorigoto, The Apothecary Diaries. There's 2 different versions of it on Manga Dex. If they translate this into English, go pick it up. But I believe they're both ongoing. The one I like is the one that's by the artist is Neko Kurage. That's the one also has more chapters translated already. Oh my goodness, it's so good. It's about a girl who was raised in a brothel, but she was raised by a guy who was a doctor and pharmacist, and she's really into poisons, and so she gets hired on as a poison tester, but she solves mysteries. It's a police procedural that where she's the forensics investigator and or I guess it's a medical procedural where she's the forensics investigator, and oh my god, it's so fun. It's so good. And Mao, that's her name. She's cute as hell. I like the one that I mentioned, the Neko Kurage. I like that one better than the other one because they draw her looking more like she's like 14 years old or 13 years old, like that kind of age. She looks quite young, and therefore she fits in as being quite unassuming. The other one draws her looking more like she's 16 or 17 years old, because they draw her a little more willowy and a little taller and stuff. And my worry about that one is I'm like, it just kind of makes her feel like she should be drawing more attention to herself, whereas in the other one it feels like she's ignored more because she seems more like a younger girl, despite the fact that she's way smarter than everybody that she runs into. Yeah, she's a fucking delight, Mao Mao is. And I totally recommend that. I wished this was that. I didn't put the two together, and I'm like, well, Raven Concert, and I was like, wait, no, this is, but this is still mystery solving. And so I'm watching, I'm like, oh, this is not exactly the same as the other thing that I want, and I hope they make an anime out of that other thing someday, because oh my god, it's good. So we'll see. So I'm gonna watch this anyway though, because good mystery, right? And it's the only difficult part about this show. The ending is really good. The ending for this is really good. Oh, and the ending for I'm the Villainous, so I will claim the last boss is phenomenal. Like, it's animated well. The music's good, but the animation is top notch because it's very simplified, but it's so like, it's so figurative. Like, there's so much, like, we're going to do all this symbolic kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's so fun. The top down of her on the rose doing the spins. And I'm like, oh, it's such a great, oh God. So yeah, there's been a lot of like really banger stuff this season so far that I've been really enjoying. So yeah, I'm going to keep watching this because I like a good mystery. The only problem I have with this, right, is the names. They will say a name in Japanese and then they will give us the name in Chinese. So her name is Jisetsu or something like that in Japanese is how they pronounce it, but the Chinese romanization of it is like Shoshe or something like that, and it's like, it's so hard to hear them say a word and then read a different word that is not pronounced the same way whatsoever. And I'm like, I don't like that, but what am I going to do? Nothing. I'm going to move on. Okay, next, this is a short from Maiden Abyss, which I won't be watching. I hope you enjoy it. Mairimashita Inama-kun 3. I didn't watch the other one, so I won't be watching this either. I hope people are enjoying this. I'm sure it's a lot of fun. I tried to read it. I think I got 2 chapters in. I was like, that's not going to be my jam, so I just moved on. But Mamekichi Mameko Neat no Nichijo. I think I was like, maybe I would watch it, but then also I was like, maybe I don't need to be watching a thing about a neat. I don't know. It's a story of Mamekichi Mameko, who is a neat young woman who lives with her dog Komachi and her 3 cats, Tabi, Simba, and Meadow. I'll do my best. Starting tomorrow is Mameko's motto, and her daily life is a little bit normal, a little bit fun, and a little bit strange. Probably fun, but I'll probably not watch. It's also a short, even though it's 48 episodes long. Maybe it's 2 shorts at the same time. I don't know. Moving on. Megaton Q Musashi Season 2. Didn't watch the first one, so didn't watch this one either. Meitante Conan. Hey, look, they're getting shorts. Hanin no Hanzawa-san. I feel like there's something going on here that if I knew more about Detective Conan, I would have a better idea of what's going on here. Like, it would be like Hannin is like the person who does it, right? So it's like Hannin wa omaeda, it's like you're the criminal, you're the culprit. Oh, it is great. It is a series about the shadow guy. Oh yes. I would watch the fuck out of this. If I see this show up anywhere, I'm totally, because I've watched maybe 3 episodes of Detective Conan in my life, but I would totally watch in the universe. I would totally watch a thing about the culprits. I love what you guys are saying too. Nick is just like, we stand a non-binary icon. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Imagine being so famous for the idea that you are just a black. There are people who cosplay this. You know that, right? Like, we know there are people out there who cosplay this shadow character. Like, oh, that's so good. The shadow guy's just whoever did it. Like, that's the thing. In order to illustrate what happens in the crime, they always have someone who is illustrated in shadow, and they look like this, and you can see them doing the crime, but then you don't know who they are, so that later on when the reveal happens, it turns out to be some like giant dude or some like small girl or whatever like that. It's like, it doesn't matter. This is just the stand-in. It's the one so that you can see what happened without actually giving away the ending. Moving on. Mob Psycho 103. Mob. I'm not watching this because I didn't watch the other. I started watching Mob and I stopped. I wasn't really into it. Much for I think the same reason why I started reading Mob, and I got about like 60 chapters into it, and then I just stopped because I was like, I know people love it, and there's lots going on in it, and you come down to action, comedy, psychological, and slice of life, and there were some things I thought were really cool about it, but then it was just like, but it's not grabbing me the way I think I wanted it to. Sometimes you just need like the right kind of tickle, right? That makes your brain think like, yes, 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 and it's like, yeah, no. So, I hope you enjoy it though. Mushi Kaburi Hime, known as the Bibliophile Princess. I love this, by the way, I love this idea. Known as the Bibliophile Princess for her unquenchable love of books, because everyone needs a nickname, Lady Eliana Bernstein wants nothing more than to shirk social duties in favor of returning to the library. So when the handsome Crown Prince Christopher promises to shield her from high society drudgery in exchange for pretending to be his fiancé, I'm guessing so because he's into dudes, maybe he's looking for a beard. Is that what's going on here? I don't know. She jumps at the chance to hide behind their sham relationship and read to her heart's content, especially since he's offered her access to Palace Library. But much like the plot of her favorite novel, soon Ellie's feelings for the prince develop in unexpected ways, and she realizes she can't always judge a royal book by its cover. I love the idea of he's like, I'm not going to watch this, I don't think. Partially, there's just so many dudes in the background. It just makes me feel like it's like, is this supposed to be like, is this an otome game? It's not like this is like I fell into my otome game, but yeah, I love the idea of, I just want to read books. And he's like, I have a solution. Let's pretend that we're going to get married. And she's like, sold. I'm going to go read all the books I want. I'm very easy to please that way. And he's like, great. Because now that we can pretend that we're going to get married, I can kind of work on this a bit because I actually want to marry her. And I need to find a way to like get her interested in paying any sort of attention to me at all. And so this is how I'm going to do it. Because it's like, maybe she'll fall in love with me. Now, of course, it's a romance. So it's like, she will fall in love with you. And there will be drama along the way, I'm sure. But I like that as a premise, that it's like, because it seems like the kind of stupid shit I would do. It is the stupid shit I would do, where it'd be like, I need a woman to be interested in me. What am I going to do? I'll start an anime club. That way I can meet a girl who likes anime. And then if she gets interested in me, then awesome. And we can watch anime together. And it's like, yes, he's like, I will offer her the whole Palace Library if she'll agree to do this thing. I'm like, yes, sounds good. Okay, whatever. But I won't be watching it. I don't think so. Move Love Alternative, if you liked that, it's, I don't know, it's been like 6 years since they made the last one. 9 years, 115 years, however long it's been. There's your second season. Enjoy it. Nanatsu no Taizai Ensa no Edinburgh. This is some classics of anime shit. Look at this. Wow. 14 years since the Kingdom of Lyonesse defeated the Demon Clan and brought peace to land. Prince Tristan is tormented by his inability to control two great powers. The Demon Clan power of his father, Meliodas, who served as captain of the seven deadly sins as the dragon sin of wrath. There is so much fucking capitalized in here. And the Goddess Clan power of his mother, Elisabethu. When Elisabeth's life was threatened, Tristan flees the kingdom and heads towards Edinburgh, where Death Pierce, who was once a member of group of the kingdom's holy knights, the Pleiades of the azure sky. What the fuck is happening? But what are Death Pierce's intentions? The wheel of fate begins to move and sweeps up even the seven deadly sins. I will not be watching this. I don't give a shit how much they threw the comedy tag on top of all this other stuff. I'm not going to be into this, I don't think. Fine. Moving on. I'm sure it's probably very popular, has been around for whatever, so... Is this actually literally like is this just an adaptation of something that people have already been watching, like that exists like this year? I'm holding out to see if... Well, moving on. Nomin kanren no skill bakka agetetara nazeka tsuyoku natta. Oh, starring Al Wayne. I'm going to guess that's this guy back here. Not you. This guy. That's an Al Wayne if I've ever seen one. Loves farming, and we don't mean the video game Sim. No. No one has ever said, boy, I sure love me to farm, and had the entire audience say, by farm, do you mean that task that you do in a video game that is some sort of like, you know, is that a reference to like a video game that has to do with an outdated thing that nobody does anymore? Right? No, it doesn't. It means actual farming. There are video game anime that have people who want to actually do some goddamn farming in them, and they say they want to farm, and they want to farm, so they farm. Holy shit. He wants to be a literal farmer, but in the process of improving his agricultural skills, he sometimes winds up maxing out his overall character stats. It's not an isekai. Okay, he's superpowered in the most, but he has the fucking menu system and magic status crystal. Most unexpected ways with abilities even the strongest heroes would envy. Alas, all he wants is an idyllic farmer's life. Sure. But with demons and monsters invading the realm, Al may have to take up the mantle of hero just to keep his dreams from withering away. Shucks. I don't care. I'm sorry, but I don't care. Thank you, Tokan. This dude is the Harvestella game, but he's sad about it. Onna no sono no hoshi. About a teacher who gets picked on by the girls in his classroom, in the classroom journal, gets saddled with looking after class's pet dog. Basically just hey, it's tough being a teacher, and I go out and drink, but I'm probably not going to watch that. I'm not going to seek it out for any reason. Peter Grill, To Kenja no Jikan, super extra. Didn't watch the first one, but Peter Grill's back and ready for action. One of these is Peter, and the other one is all the grills. Lots of grills in this, actually. Look at them all. That's an Anka looking one right there. No, I don't know any of these grills. Another raunchy season. Yeah, moving on. I like titties, but whatever. Why wouldn't I watch Pop Team Epic? Now, why? The hard trouble I have with Pop Team Epic has always been watching the second episode, like watching the second half of the episode after the first, because it's just like I'm watching it because I know there's going to be some differences, but I also know that, and the translation, when the translation is good, then it's like you can definitely see that it's like, yes, they changed some things. But the second half is 95% the same, and spending another 15 minutes watching for the 5% differences sometimes feels tough. But I liked the first episode of this a lot. I'm glad that it's, we're getting more of it. I haven't watched the second episode yet. But yeah, man, like I will watch more of this. I'm liking it. So yeah. Gallon Dino. Oh yeah, Gallon Dino did is Kamikaze Doga did Gallon Dino? Gyaru and Dino. That was a lot of fun too. I liked that. Yeah, I feel like it's not even like watching Endless 8 where it's like you're like, wait, this is the same story. Is it? Is it the same story? Are there going to be changes? And you start looking for the changes and you're kind of like trying to pick things out. I mean, but even Endless 8 was kind of like a shit post as well. But yeah, I've liked Pop Team Epic. I'm glad that it's back. Pui Pui Molcar Driving School. They look very fluffy this time. Enjoy that if you are enjoying Molcar. Have a Moruka. Enjoy the Pui Pui. Hey, guess what? It's DG Charit's 24th anniversary, which means it's the final year that she can date Leonardo DiCaprio, I guess. Why did we pick 24? It's such an odd number to pick. You'd pick maybe 20 because, 20th, Hatachi, right? You want to be like, she's 24 years old or 20 years old, whatever. But hey, okay. I haven't... DG Charato. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. A long time. So moving on. Renai flops. Asahi Kashiwagi lives the typical life of an average. Isn't that the name of this guy who's in the I have to live in a house with a no wait, is the name of the gyaru who has to live with the dude who has a crush on somebody else, and they have to try not to bone each other for 50 days or else they won't pass the class. Whatever. Asahi Kashiwagi lives the typical life of an average high school student until the day a TV fortune teller's prediction comes through one after another, culminating in a series of risque encounters. Destiny seemingly draws 5. There's not even a boy in this picture. Destiny seemingly draws 5 beautiful girls into Asahi's path, and soon he finds himself feeling not 1, not 2, but 5 love confessions. Asahi will need to follow his heart to find the perfect love for him, or else his love fortunes may end up in one epic flail and flop. Flail and flop. So, another passione. I guess that's their jam. Maybe it's like we make softcore titty anime. All right. Moving on. Road of Naruto. Hey, it's their 20th anniversary. Believe it. Romantic Killer. Oh, I didn't read this. Anzu Hoshino. It's an ONA, so this might be harder to find. I do like that, though. So, man teiku. Oh, romantiku. Teiku. And there's a witch thing there, so whatever. Anzu Hoshino is a non-heroine type high school girl who pays no attention to the fashion or romance and spends every day playing video games. I'm watching this. I don't know, maybe I'm not. When the wizard Riri suddenly appears, Anzu is forced to participate in the Magical World Project to stop population decline. Fuck! Oh, why did I commit? Why did I commit to that so fast? I'm an idiot. This romantic comedy depicts what happens when Anzu goes from living a life immersed in her 3 favorite things, video games, chocolate, and cats, being surrounded by handsome guys. Anzu is steadfast in her claim that she never wanted to live in a dating sim. She meets a handsome guy who is so popular it hurts. I hope that's literally true. A clean-cut and athletic childhood friend, and a beautiful rich young guy who is naive about the outside world. By meeting Anzu, they all begin to change gradually. like the enigma of Amagata Fault? Like, is that how they start to change gradually? Like, I hope that's what's going on here. I thought she would be a witch. No. Well... Yes, thank you, Token. Oh no, she rules. Oh... I mean, yes... The idea of if they change her gradually, if she changes all 3 of them gradually into just total like just neats, I'm on board for that too. That would be funny, but rolling on. I don't know if I'll watch that. I'm not really feeling it all of a sudden. Um, Seiken Densetsu, Legend of Mana, the Teardrop Crystal. Okay, so Seiken Densetsu gets, I guess if you've played the game or you haven't, okay, here's what I think. I think if you've played the game, you're probably more interested in watching this. If you haven't played the game, you might be like, well, you're not in one of two categories. You're either, I should watch this so then I wouldn't have to play the game, or I don't care about watching this because I might never play the game, but I don't really care that much about Legend of Mana to begin with. And I'm more in that category of, I don't think I'm going to watch this. So I will move on. But I hope if you are enjoying Seiken, I loved Secret of Mana, playing that. That is the original Seiken Densetsu. That's Seiken Densetsu 2. Because the original Seiken Densetsu was Final Fantasy Adventure over here, right? Yes. I think Seiken Densetsu 2. Whatever. Moving on. Shinmai Renkinjutsu Shi. Oh, cool. Fullmetal Alchemist is back. No Tenpo Kei. We all know Renkinjutsu Shi, don't we? We all know that word. Hagamono no Renkinjutsu Shi. It's like everyone trying to learn how to say that. But Orphan Sarasa just graduated from the Royal Alchemist Academy, and that means her longed-for life of elegance and riches is close at hand. As a graduation gift, her teacher gives her a house. You wouldn't have to say gift twice. You could just say gives her a house in this case to set up shop. But Sarasa's dilapidated new digs are beyond far-flung. What's a novice alchemist to do when they're stuck in the middle of nowhere with business to run and supplies to gather from a very dangerous natural world? Whether it's facing down frightening fantasy creatures or finding creative ways to attract customers, Sarasa has her work cut out for her. She dreams her achieve of becoming the greatest alchemist around. Now, this sounds like fun. I don't think I'm going to watch it, but it sounds like it could be a fun thing. But I think I was just like not really into the thing of it. So, yeah. I don't know. I'll think about it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty ambivalent about it. But there's a mini anime, so that changes my mind. Shinobi no Itoki. I'm probably not going to watch this. It's largely just action, right? But Itoki Sakuraba was an ordinary student until his life turned upside down, and he finds out he's the 19th heir. You could probably have made that rhyme. His life was flipped, turned upside down. He finds out that he is the 19th heir of the famous Iga ninjas. Nothing else rhymes. The Iga must try to defend what is theirs from the Koga. Okay, that's classic. The rivaling clan seeking to end Itoki's life. Itoki is left with no choice but to become a shinobi that's strong enough to not only protect himself, but also his village. Does he live in that village? Now a student of Kokuten Ninja Academy. Oh, so it's Harry Potter and the Ninja Stone. Okay. Whatever. I don't. Okay. High-tech suits and gadgets. There's that. So could be interesting. Students from other villages. They might clash with the Koga. Probably, I guess the Koga are the bad guys. And then we'll find out they're not the bad guys, but they're kind of everybody's the bad guys. I don't know. Well, whatever. Moving on. Yes. Problem I have with this, the opening and the ending are not as charming as the first Kur. I'll deal. It's still fun, obviously. You know, Anya's a delight. Yoru's the best. Lloyd's trying his hardest. And now Bond has finally shown up, and that'll be fun to get built into as well. I hope that we get Kurs of this out the ass. I hope we get so many of these. I love it when people look at this and go, why the fuck would I like this? And they watch or they read a bit of it and they're like, oh, it's so good. And I'm like, yes, yeah. Sometimes when people tell you a thing is good, you just have to shut up and believe them. Like it's nice when that happens. So yeah. I'm glad I'm watching this. Super on board. Suzume no Tojimari. It's a movie. I don't know if I'll watch this. Interesting idea, though, because it seems very quest-ish, but yeah. The story follows Suzume, a 17-year-old girl from a quiet Kyushu town who meets a young man looking for a door. They find a door within ruins in the mountain, and Suzume opens it. Soon, more doors begin to open around Japan, bringing disasters from the other side. The film depicts Suzume's liberation and growth, and she closes the doors that are causing disaster. Very Howl-looking motherfucker right there, right? Like, it's like, well, we need to attract people to watch Howl. Yes, let's get Howl involved. So that's good. Comics Wave, is that Shinkai's studio, or is that just somebody he's working for, I guess? Whatever. Boy, everyone's bringing up the chair. Did I miss a chair in here? Maybe I did. Anyway. Oh wait, no. This dude is a chair. Okay. This dude becomes a chair. Okay. Fine. I haven't seen this yet. I had no idea about any of this. Whatever. I will probably watch it when it comes out because the dude becomes a chair now. Awesome. Saopro, Kuraki Yuyami no Scherzo. Nope. It's a follow-up to something I'm not watching. Tensei Shitara Ken Deshita. So some sort of sword god. Some isekai protagonists are reincarnated as powerful warriors or skilled wizards, but our protagonist was reborn in another life as a sentient sword. He's taken up by Fran, a desperate girl fleeing evildoers intent on selling her into slavery. With her new weapons, help, and guidance, she's able to strike down her captors to secure her freedom. Together, this unconventional master-student duo embark on an epic journey to liberate those in need and exact justice on the cruel of heart. Sounds like fun. Don't know if it's my jam either. But yeah. Enjoy, I guess. Tensei Shitara. There's another Tensei. Tensei Shitara. Slime. Okay, so this is about a guy who is somebody who's reincarnated into being a slime and is matched up with a girl, and they go on great adventures. I'm guessing. I haven't watched the original, and I'm not going to watch the movie, so. But I think I got that all right anyway. Oof. You know, if it was done totally in black and white, but with color outlines just on the hair, I think that would be a very interesting look for the first Slam Dunk. I'm sure it's gonna. I'm sure it will be interesting. If the idea is like, it's doing a new animated movie, but it's called The First Slam Dunk, but it's like not meant to be. It's been so long since Slam Dunk was made. It makes sense that you might want to be like, let's put the series into a movie so everyone can see how cool Slam Dunk was, and then maybe you'll want to, let's get together in front of TV, right? Like, that's the idea. That's what they kept telling us to do, and maybe that'll bring people back. Who knows? Aha, yes. We haven't, Heather and I are also watching Tiger and Bunny. We watched the first cour. We haven't watched the second one yet. It's on Netflix in Canada, so we'll be able to watch it when we have time. I literally thought the end of the first cour was it. I thought that was it. Like, so they get a second cour. I'm like, I don't know what you're going to do after this. Like, it seems like you really kicked the shit at everybody. So it's not good. Great. Well, I look forward to watching it and finding out. Tonikaku kawaii seifuku. Dressed in a uniform there. There's a second season. There's a new this. I haven't. Oh, it's cosplay. I see. I probably won't watch that, but I'd like to watch the second season of Tonikaku Kawaii. I thought it was an interesting premise. It was a weird premise, but I was like, I'll watch this and see where this goes. And I know there's more to do. There's more mystical something in the background that I'd love to be able to, we'll find out more about. Because they're not being subtle about it. But anyway. Yes. Well. Uchi no shisho wa shippo ga nai. We're going to start off right now by saying the animation budget seems pretty low, but that's probably because I'm sure that they're making other things this season that need that money. But I'm very excited about this, and let me tell you why My Master Has No Tail is exciting to me. So first we have our Tanuki Mameda. I have to read the whole thing. Throughout time, supernatural shape-shifting Tanuki love playing tricks on humankind. One plucky Tanuki, Mamida, is no different, but there's one problem. She wasn't born in the days of yore. She was born in modern, more cynical times. I believe this is the Taisho era. Not so it's not the Showa era. We're going further back than that, but we're not going Meiji era. We're going like it's kind of nestled in between there. This is where we had motor cars in Japan for the first time. Trolley trains. We have, they have lights on at night, like that kind of thing. And so she knows all the tricks that her dad knows about how you would screw with humans. And so when she goes to Osaka, she's like, this will be great. I'll use all my tricks. And no, because we have street level lights at night, so you can't do like the floating lantern thing to scare people, right? And you can't do like the fire wheel that's racing racing a rickshaw, because if you try to race a motor car with a fire wheel, they'll just run into you. So anyway, she meets Bunko, a master of the Japanese art of rakugo. Rakugo. So it's a rakugo anime is what it is more than anything else, and that's her right there. Uses storytelling to beguile its audience. Mamida is determined to use rakugo to cast a spell on humanity. First, the snooky trickster must convince the no-nonsense Bunko to take her on as an apprentice. And Bunko is not all that she seems either. Right there, she is definitely has her own tricks, and people in chat will probably ruin it for you. It's like I say, the animation is stiff. Like they don't have money, is what it feels like, or they're saving it for something else, which is a shame. I like Rakugo. I guess really what I like is I like depictions of Rakugo, because I think it's interesting to see how you get the idea of storytelling and all that kind of stuff across. And it's meant to be a comedy, obviously. And I'm thinking it's going to be largely we're going to have. I'm hoping it's going to be a lot, because they didn't translate a lot of the manga of this. I'm hoping it's going to be feeling like, here's what you do in the entertainment hall, and here's how you learn how to do this kind of thing as well. And here's what it's like living in Osaka in this time. And it's like, I'm taking this as a period piece to kind of, teach me how this goes, right? So, is it in the opening? It is the opening. Great. She's a kitsune, and she's so good that you can't tell she's a kitsune. But it's not obvious to Mamida, or Mamida figures it out. She's like, wait, aren't you? And she's like, no, I'm a Rakugoka. That's all I am. Shut the fuck up and don't tell anybody. So, but yeah, the reason I like it so much is there was a PV that went up a while ago. I don't know if I can find this or not. Let's go back to the booth. So we go to YouTube and risk getting completely just ruined over this. I need to look for... I might have to log in on my own shit. That might not work. If I can find it, these are going to be hard to do. Yeah, it might be hard to find this thing, damn it. There is an old yellow backgrounded, it looked very cute. It was I'm never going to be able to find this thing. Yeah, that's too bad. Coming back to the booth, or out of the booth again. There's this cute little animation I saw on YouTube a while back. I could probably just pull it up on my phone, because I think I still have it saved in my library, because I was like, I don't want to ever lose this thing if I can help it. There we go. So they did a we're going to do that thing where we get to fool the whatever. So here's the PV. So there's that whole thing, right? And that was a PV they did to advertise the manga. But then for whatever reason, somebody did this. So I saw the one with the yellow background that had the little characters in it first, and I was like, what is going on here? And then like months and months and months later, I saw that other PV, the first one I showed you, and I was like, why does that sound so familiar? And I started looking, and I was like, it was like a weird like, and I looked it up, and I found that the one's called Mini Rakugo, and I was like, this is like these little characters and whatnot. I'm like, oh, one's a Tanuki. Wait, this is the same show. What is this thing that somebody did this animation for? This is this any good? Like somebody essentially did like fan art animated stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm really drawn into this idea. And then you find out it's like, oh, it is like it's a manga, Beej. It's not getting an anime. But I'm like, but why do we have audio? Like, is it from a drama CD? Like, what's it from? And then you find out, oh, it's from these PVs that they did to advertise it. The music is, and the voices are the same voices, but they're not the same dialogue. And you're like, okay, so something else has gone on here. But that was what was intriguing to me. And so this, as a result, like I read the like few chapters of manga that got scanlated, and then I was like, when I saw that they're getting a anime, I was like, I have to watch this because I am enamored with this little thing, and that's going to give me so much so much goodwill to roll me into this series that despite the fact that the first episode's animation is kind of rough, I'm like, you're going to get 3 episodes out of me, and I'm going to see if I enjoy this or not. So that's what I'm doing with that. Uma Yuru, a new short animation spinoff of Uma Musume. It's on the Pakatube YouTube channel. If it doesn't come with subtitles on YouTube, then I probably won't be able to understand it, so I probably won't watch it. Well, I'm glad to know we're getting 46 because I actually didn't know how many we were getting, but that is like criminally few, it still feels like, but we'll see. It's tight together. Let's get excited for Urusei Yatsura for 2022, and let's get excited by the fact that it's being done by David Production. So the look of this is interesting because I'm pretty sure we're not going to have like this. I think the PVs have already come out and they didn't look like this exactly. But the key art looks amazing too. This is more of the illustrated, and seeing Urusei Yatsura in 16:9 and knowing that the show is gonna be like, knowing that they're like, well, we have to represent the things that happen in the show. If you've watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes of Urusei Yatsura, it's like, okay, we have our first setup episode. Yes. And then we have our next episode, I think, is the one where the aliens show up and they do something, and it ends up because of what they did, like just immediately, because of what they did immediately, the people of Earth owed them a massive debt, and they're like, but we can't pay for that. It's like, oh, that's fine. We'll find something that we need, and we'll just take it. And they took all of the oil out of the planet, like basically all the crude oil. They just extracted all of it, and then everyone was like, you can't fucking do that because everything we have runs on oil, and we need that to live because we have no other way around whatever. And so they worked out an agreement that Ataru had to do something for Lum, I believe. He had to actually finally agree. I can't remember what it was, but whatever it was that he did, and they're like, okay, cool, and we'll give all the oil back now. And they did. And how do you think in a Rumiko Takahashi comedy would a bunch of aliens give back all the oil that they extracted out of the ground? Yeah, they just dumped it on the planet. They just went sploot, and then of course by the next episode, everything's fine. It's all been put away and taken care of. Who gives a shit? It's fantastic. The show, top comedy, goofy stuff. I just like, I've seen very little of this show, and I have the whole original series, and I've never had time to sit down and watch. Keep meaning to, but then I was like, well, wait, now that I know that this is coming out, I can watch this and enjoy like 46 episodes of Urusei Yatsura, and then when I get to the end of it, it's like, well, I want to fill in a bunch of gaps with all like the over like the 200 episodes or whatever it was that they made. I'm like, well, then I have lots of other stuff, the older stuff to choose from if I want to, and that's fine too. So I am definitely on watching this. It's probably, I think it is the thing this season that I'm most looking forward to watching, because I have a feeling, just based on David Production's pedigree and based on like the fact that they're getting so many shows and they're saying we're getting so many shows. I'm like, I think that they are there. They're saying, we are going to do this, and boy, are we going to do it right. Like, we are going to really lean into making sure that this is top notch. This is top quality. We're not going to like fuck around with this whatsoever. It's going to be an adaptation that people will love. And I'm just like, so we'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, it's always possible to make an adaptation that just sucks, but I'm like, I don't think they're going to make it. I don't think it's going to suck. I think it's going to be good, but we got almost 4 days to find out. Right. So, yes. Usaki-chan wa asobitai. Omega? I think that's Omega. Yeah. Because they use it in the Omega Labyrinth one where they also use it to represent titties. So, I'm watching this too because I read the manga. I watched the first season. It was good. Will continue to watch this and see how it all plays out. Obviously, where we are in the manga is a very different point to where we are in the anime. But it is interesting seeing how this kind of all comes out. It's funny too, right? Because it's like, for all this is, it... The only, like, people make such a huge deal of this because Uzaki has like big boobs for her frame and has a shirt that says Sugoi Dekai across it in English. And I'm like, Jesus. And I'm just like, if you took that away, she'd just be a brat Kohai character. And I don't think there would have been the kind of like, oh, look at this, isn't this terrible that it's all titties and whatever? And it's like, well, it isn't, because that's not like a huge part of her character. It's a big part of her character design, and everyone's like, therefore this show is shit. And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's fun. I think the manga's fun. I think the show is fun. I think that everyone put way too bigger of a like weight on that, and I was like, oh God, if you just, I mean, and I do that shit too, where it's like I look at a thing and I'm like, okay, this is going to be what this is though, right? Like, it's going to be what I'm seeing here, right? And so I'm like, I get it that you're going to look at this and be like, oh, this is what this is. And I'm like, yeah, but it also kind of isn't what you think it is. So, yeah. And as Pat says, the fact that they're everyone's college kids helps a lot too. And it does, actually. It's kind of fun to see in a way that these are college kids, because college relationship stuff you don't see that often, and like adult relationship stuff you don't see very often either. And I love to see more of that, make it, into shows. Like, that's, I think, interesting because you get to see how that plays into what it is you're doing with your life to life. I wish there was more college part of this than there is of like these two interact more like outside of classes and also like at their part-time job. And I'm like, I'd like to see more of what it's like to be in college, but then that maybe steers away from what's going on in the show as well. I just also love the fact that he's a total Sakurai, is a total gym rat, and he's like a swimmer, and he's cut, like he's just buff as hell. And we don't get to see that often enough in the show too. And it's very funny in the manga when you get to see that he is just like, he's a gym rat, and it's funny in itself. But anyway, Vazrock, the animation, I saw music, so probably not. Oh, they're all gems. Okay, well, enjoy your gems, I guess. Watashi ni tensa ga mairita. Precious friends, I won't be touching this with a 10-foot fucking pole. I'm sorry. No, I won't, because there's manga of this, and I've read some of the manga. I'm like, it's a little too creepy. I am not into it. Moving on. Yamano Susume, next summit. Encouragement of Climb. It's the 4th season. I've watched a lot of this. I'm reading the manga still. It doesn't make me that excited. Like, I watched the first season, or rather read the first like bits of it, and then watched the show because I'm like, maybe the show will make me more excited. And I'm like, it's not, I don't find it as like appealing. Like, I think I've just kind of like slowly like shifted away. It didn't bounce off it, right? I just kind of slowly shifted away from this over time. And like, I read it now still, but mostly because it comes out just like once in a blue moon. And I'm like, I'll read a chapter of this. Sure, it's a new one out. I read the thing. I'm like, yeah, Okay. I think Yudu Camp gets me more interested, even because of all like the cold weather camping and stuff, but it gets me more interested in the things that I like about the only things I like about being outdoors. I like camping. I don't like hiking. And so reading about, you know, learning how to hike and learning about gear and learning about different mountains and like places to go in Japan, I'm like, ultimately I was like, but I'm never going to do any of this. And I don't think I care as much. So I think I will move on. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of how I feel about this too. Hey, good. I didn't watch Yowamushi Pedal, but hey, there's more Yowamushi Pedal, and they look crazy. Good for them for being just absolutely terrifying. So, does he have a calendar on his ass? I guess that's what's going on. Sure. Okay. Enjoy. Hey, Coach Nelly and their party. I'm going to be done here pretty quick, actually. We're on the Y's, right? So, and okay, Yusha party o Tsuiho Tsareta Beast Tamer Saikyoshi no Nekomimi Sho. I know what that word means. Nekomimi Shoujo to deau. Because Rain was a weak and simple beast tamer, he was expelled from the heroes group, but that didn't stop his desire to be an adventurer. By taking simple quests afterwards, he has a destined encounter with a strong cat girl. I've never seen a... Is strong cat like getting strong alcohol? Strong cat is one of the members of the Strong Bad family, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not... All I see is this much of it, right? And it's like, I don't know what to... I could zoom it down, but I don't know if that'll help. I think I'm going to bounce off this too. So please enjoy. Oh shit, we're done. Okay. Well, I already know that the thing that I'm super into this season, we already talked about, it's Urusei Yatsura, and crossing our fingers that come Friday, that's going to be the thing. But, you know, the I'm a Villainous, so I'll take the last boss has been interesting so far. I'm happy to see that. And what else was in here? Because that was one of the first ones and we just went by it. What else was in here that I was thinking? Oh yeah, Bocchi the Rock. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to see that. These two movies, Boku ga Ashita Subite o Kimie and then Kimi ga Ashita Subite no Bokue, I think is the other one. The paired up movies, I'm interested to see how that will play out, obviously. And obviously Chainsaw Man is coming out. The DIY, I've watched an episode already, and it's kind of like, but I'm going to watch more of it. Cool Doji Dansi, play cool, boys. Think about that. The thing about the middle-aged mature idols, yeah, I'm kind of think that's cool. Yes, thank you. And Spy Family Part 2. Spy Family's hard for me because it's like I know it's happening, but also I want to like hold on to it. It's like I'm going to watch some of this stuff that's maybe not so good and then like get to watch an episode of Spy Family at the end of the night to have like a really good time. And but I'm not like really pushing that kind of like, but also I could watch it right now and have a really good time right now. So there's that's kind of happening. But yeah, I feel like it's a pretty full season. Like lots of stuff in here, continuations of stuff that's really good, obviously, and new things that people will enjoy. Looks like a very strong season overall. Lots of people making lots of work. And then, of course, yeah, The Witch from Mercury, I think I will toss that into my list and I will try to find a way to watch this as soon as I can. At least watch a few episodes. Is third episode in 6 days. So, yeah. Anything else that's in here? Raven Consort, yeah, that's been kind of interesting so far. It's not exciting, but it's interesting. I have to find Hanin no Hanzawa-san at this point. I'll have to try to remember how to look for that. Maybe I'll forget about it entirely and we'll hear about this in 3 months about, oh, I forgot to watch that. Oh shit, I got to add that to the list. And then Pop Team Epic returns for second season. And what else we got here? Yeah, there's Spy Family. So yeah, Spy Family and Urusei Yatsura. If I've got those two things to watch, I think it's a good season. And that's going to take us to the end of what it is we're doing here. So let's do that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your time. As always, you can check out what we do here on the channel. This has been Beej's Anime Roundup, but we don't just do that here. We do all sorts of gaming and all sorts of Magic the Gathering streams and stuff if you've been watching Twitch. And if not, if you're watching stuff on YouTube, go check out all the other channels under the little channels tab. You can see everything else that we're doing there as well. If you've been referred here for some other reason, you managed to make it through 3.5 hours of some random dude that you had no idea talking about anime and yelling at the screen the whole time, I'm sure because you disagree with a lot of my choices. Good on you. But you watched this live maybe on Twitch, twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun. Thank you for your subs. Thank you for your bits. On YouTube, of course, youtube.com/loadingreadyrun, and all of the sibling channels that we have. You can support us through memberships and also through super thanks. If you want to just give us a little money in super thanks, that's fun too. Please check out the Patreon, patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, which is it's probably the best way to give us money these days. If that's your jam, if you're into the Patreon thing, please do that. Keep in mind that when dumb shit happens at Patreon HQ, we don't like that either, because we know that people want to pull their money out, and that is money that is ultimately coming to us. And it makes it hard, I get that. But you can also support us by buying merch, is another way to do it. Go to the store.loadingreadyrun.com. We have Dragon Shield sleeves in there, customized Dragon Shield sleeves that you can buy. $20 a pop US for like a pack of 100, which is, I know, a little more expensive than your standard sleeves, but again, these are custom, so they come in more expensive. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. But please, hop in there and buy some if you're interested. We'll have new things coming in all the time. And of course, Desert Bus is coming up, so there'll be new stuff in the store when we get Desert Bus rolling in November, which is like in 6 weeks. More like a month, actually. Take it easy. It's gonna be fine. But yeah, that's it. I'm glad you enjoyed this bonus stream of Beej's Anime Roundup. Take care, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye.